And then we wait. The stream hasn't started, but the streamer is here. What do you think streamers are doing when they've got their little splash screen up? Their little countdown splash screen that says stream starts in 2 minutes. They're getting a glass of water, getting a cup of coffee, and they go to their desk and they sit down, and then they're just sitting there. They're just like, until that countdown is done. So instead of doing that, I just show you guys, you know, how the sausage is made. Makeup tweaks. I gotta get my blush on and whatever I use to keep my skin from being reflective of light. I don't do that. I don't do any makeup. All right, there's YouTube chat. Good to go. Everybody's online, looking good. Only thing I have to fix is the emotes. I need those better TV emotes and stuff that are working in OBS. I like this random nattering starting soon. You know, it's what I decided to do. I don't think it's all that unique. It's just for some reason there's always somebody asking about it. I could just have like a splash screen up, but then I'd have to have a splash screen that has audio in it, and I don't want that. The splash screens are sort of soft muting. So when I go to technical difficulties, there's no audio, so you guys can't hear me cursing. Just how it is. Gonad was messing around with ESPs as well, same kind of stuff that powers this thing, and he had all this equipment for the ESP1, which I think I've got a bunch of stuff for, and I have one in here, I think. That's not it. I have all this like little breadboard stuff that I've put together to help with those things, but I don't think I've had a proper programming board. These screens have been... Son of a bitch. There's the moth. Hello, moth. Hello, moth. I am the arbiter of your destruction. I will destroy you and your entire brood. You are not... I will not suffer you to be alive in my shop, moth. For some reason, I don't know what the reason is. Well, the reason is nature. We live in the woods, and so wood stuff will happen. We live in the woods, and there's a window right there, and that window is at ground level. And so the moths have found the shop, and I've got... Those moths are not cloth moths, apparently, I've been told. They are not cloth moths, but they are pretty intrusive in here, fluttering about. So, like, especially at night when I've got most of the lights off in here, I'll see them fluttering towards the lights over there. It's bad. I don't know how there's so many. What's up, component crime boss? You're just picking stuff from the title, huh? Candle flies? I don't know. Is that like another term for them? That's exactly what they are. Yeah, that's what they are. Insects of Kentucky, candlefly. Yeah, that pretty much is exactly what they look like. I think save for a little bit of change in coloration, they are this shape. And they're fluttery and they're very annoying. What causes candleflies? Behavior and risks. Do not behave and do not risk. Otherwise you will get candle moths. Stored product, wax, or food residue. Egg is laid near the food residue or whatever, where larvae feed and develop out of sight. That's not really that helpful. Huh. Cook's Pest Control. Candle moths are small flying insects found indoors, near wax materials or food sources. There really shouldn't be any food sources in here. Used to have them at my parents' house. They would get into our flour and rice. They are menaces. Their broods are fine to destroy. Yeah, I don't know where the food source would be for these, but there's quite a few of them fluttering about. I'm just not sure. But I'm finding them near the window. Obviously, I think I need to take out the trash, but I don't think they're originating from where the trash can is. I haven't been able to see any of them around the trash can. Build a bug zapper. I used to have a bug zapper, but I left it at a festival by accident. I like that bug zapper. Shame. Okay, I was looking for the weird ESP stuff just to show. Just to show. I gotta do something with all these distance sensors. I think I got too many. I need to make a bin full of distance sensors because we don't do a lot with distance sensing. I can't stop listening to Agene Depoitin. Is that RN or M? That's RN. I see a little gap. I can't say that word. My American mouth does not operate on that frequency. It's bad. It's real bad out here, guys. It's real bad. I have all these weird adapters. They love those stupid scented candles. I don't have any scented candles, though. I don't have a one. I haven't even thrown one out. I'm gonna have to look. Like, it might be my trash can. Might be the origin of them. There might be food stuff deep in the trash can that had larvae in it or something. But then I would be seeing more of them around that trash can. So that I don't think that's the source. I think outside there must be something, and then they are finding their way in more easily than I would like them to. I think that's what might be. There might be something like just outside the window, maybe, because that's where I've seen them all. But then again, they just congregate at the window, so I don't know. I don't know. Jam an electric racket in there. Yeah, I don't have one of those electric fetish tennis rackets. I'm just not into that stuff. No judgment, but you know. Where did my ESP01 go? I think we're looking at it. I just don't know where we're looking at it. I need to organize this bin, if that wasn't already abundantly clear. Some weird. What are these? It's like I don't even know what some of this stuff is. Huh. What is this? What is this? What are we? Where are we? Why are we here? What the? Almost an engineer. Hey, thank you so much for subbing. That's very kind of you. Oh, I need to get the right page here. I'm looking at YouTube. Go ahead and say it already. What's up, Madam You? Yeah, so, almost an engineer with a prime for 28 months. That is so nice of you, and I really appreciate you very much. What is this? Is it a level shifter? I think it's a level shifter. Yeah, it's a level shifter. No. RH, RW, and L. HW and L. Ground increment? Chip select. Hope everything's good. Dongle man is not something that I necessarily want to be referred to as, unless I'm getting very famous. X9C104S. X9C104S. Digital potentiometer. Ah, okay. So that was from the joystick, not joystick, the simulator thing to basically emulate, that's the word I'm looking for, to emulate an analog input. This needs organization, like, desperately. This bin is out of control. Rest assured, all the stuff that Flatulent Gonad, if you guys flip over to Flatulent Gonad right now, you'll see him playing with all of the stuff that I've been looking for to show off. It's the same stuff. It's ESP01 stuff. I have a breakout board here somewhere for it, and then I also have one single module, which might be up here. I forget where I saw it last. I saw it recently, though. But yeah, this whole set of bin just really needs to be organized. This is why I lost a bunch of those parts. This is why parts have gone missing and or assumed dead. We're gonna need these. These are the screens. I can just hang out on the desk. What other fancy shit is up here? Oh, sorry, YouTube. I didn't mean to curse. I know that completely demonetizes me, and it puts me in the naughty bin for YouTube. And YouTube goes, ew, you said a naughty no-no word, and then they put you in fucking real-life jail. Oh, did I curse again? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. We'll never get famous at this rate, you guys. I just can't stop cursing. Chat paused due to scroll. I can assure you that I did nothing that would warrant that. You were playing with adapters and I called them dongles, and I'm not sorry. You live your truth, King. It's less of a mess than less of a mess than my shelf was. You've got way more modules and things. Yeah, the shelf that I have to take a look at, engineer, the one that you've been almost an engineer. Sorry, I didn't mean to pin you as an engineer, get you arrested in your home country. No, this over here, this crap behind the simulator, this is like a graveyard of projects. We still have to look at that O-scope and get it running again, so I have a tube O-scope just for oohs and ahs. But what should really be there, either there or next to the milling machine, should be a shelf just with equipment on it. And I should put it all on the little ESP relay modules so that I can have it all turn on, and I can have a camera pointed at it that's suited for low light so that we can just see all of the blinking lights and all the stuff that's just lighting up and making cool screen stuff. That's sort of something that needs to exist in a house of engineering. It's really good for when you have people take a tour of your shop and they go, wow, look at all the blinking lights. You go, yeah, this is smart stuff is getting done here. And then when they leave, you turn it all off. And there's no light in this world. But anyway, so that's just a bunch of like individual project storage and stuff that's kind of taken the back burner. So I need to get to organizing that at some point and just like sit down on the floor with all the mods and start just rearranging things. Yeah, piling on the shelf, that's essentially the same thing, except that I have alcoholism, and so I've got all of these like beer trays here in Pennsylvania. Well, they're doing it more now. The supermarket finally has beer, but it used to be in order to get your alcohol stuff, you have to go to either a distributor or a state store in order to buy either your beer or hard alcohol. And so you went to a beer distributor to get the beer, and so they sell you a large quantity of it, and you get like a cardboard tray so you can carry everything basically. And so that's where I got all these cardboard trays, and I'm like, these are pretty good for just like having a thing where I can put everything on the desk for this one project, sweep it into the cardboard, put it on the shelf, do a different project. That's kind of how we do the variety of projects here. I've been kind of focusing in on certain projects lately because I need to get stuff done. Like this Julian thing came out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, sure, I can build you that. And so 3 streams later, I'm still doing it. We should be way further along. And so in that vein, I'm actually going to turn off start soon so you guys can finally get your, oh my God, I don't understand it. If I can see the streamer, I can see the streamer right there and it says stream starts soon, but the stream started. They started streaming already. They literally hit a button that said start stream, and now they're looking at a button that says stop stream. My poor little chatter head cannot get my brain around the fact that I'm able to have a start soon on the stream, but the stream has stopped soon. What's going on? Everybody else gets it. You're the only one. Daily question asker. It's like vague posting. You're vague posting. All right, anyway, let's get the stream started. Get the music out of here because I don't really know what's on this mix. Sounds like it's a little diametrically opposed. Oh, somebody's going to be baking sugary stuff today, so my whole shop is going to smell like cinnamon and sugar, which is, you know, not the diabetic's favorite thing in the world, especially after having a kind of a carby lunch. Well, we will survive. We'll survive the fact that there are so many wonderfully pleasant smells in effect here. And at some point, I need to figure out where the hell all those candle moths are coming from. It would make sense that maybe I threw away something that had a little food matter in it, and it was in the garbage, and somehow the candle moth eggs were also in the garbage. That would maybe make sense. Any other location of food is absurd because I'm very militant about where I allow food to be in the shop. So I don't think that would be, it wouldn't be like discarded anything. And I don't know, there's so many of them. I'm finding, I found today like 4 or 5 candle moths just fluttering about, usually near the window. So it's possible that they're coming externally. It's possible that right under the stairs that are right there, because there's stairs that go up to a deck just like right by that window. And so it's possible that somewhere around those stairs is the origin of all these candle moths, and a certain number of them are getting in through that window. I don't know though. I don't know. That's kind of what I was looking at. Euro boxes from AUER. What the fuck is a candle moth? I know, I just learned the term myself. It's a moth that is not one that eats food. Well, I guess they do, but one that eats cloth. Apparently it's a southern term, but they're these little... Well, now, of course, I don't get all of the pictures. There, that guy right there. It's just this kind of innocuous moth that's ubiquitous. That's... looks more like a butterfly, man. But yeah, that's kind of what I just killed one a minute ago that was on my leg. I think they're getting in through the window, but the window needs to be open because it was like 95 degrees out. And when it's actually quite the opposite of what you would think. Well, you mean it's 95 degrees out, so you're opening a window so it's cool in the shop. No, the shop is in the basement, and so is the main air handler for the entire house. And what happens is all of that cold air attempts to be pushed up into the rest of the house, but cold air falls, and so the basement becomes literally free. I was almost shivering down here. So I opened the window to the 95-degree weather to heat my shop up just a little bit. My little cubby hole of equipment that's all I own in this world, and dust. Yeah. Anyway, those moths start off in the ground as worms. Then they turn into moths. Probably close by, not even a trash can. I see. So yeah, that's definitely coming from outside of the window, because this is like a spider hole right here next to the deck. So it's likely that, yeah. I spent the whole day in the bug room at the Carnegie Mellon Museum in Oakland. I saw the butterfly exhibit when it was in Washington, D.C. And being a young lad 3,500 years ago with a new DSLR camera, that was awesome. That's where this lens came from, was from that camera that I bought with a tax rebate payment. Bought a nice DSLR and it was awesome, except that when I started streaming 10 years later, I hooked the DSLR up and I'm like, yes, this is going to be an excellent source of high quality video. Why did it stop? And then it starts up again. Every like minute or I think 30 seconds of that camera, it has to stop video and then it starts it back up again to keep the sensor from overheating. It was the worst purchase of my life. I should not have bought that thing. I got it upstairs. I don't do anything with it, but I took some really nice pictures of butterflies with it. What's up? 14. I should stop pronunciating the vowels the way that I do. Oyul. Aoyuil. That's a 1. Ayui. Aoyui. Listen, language words and letters, I don't know what are. How's everybody doing? Look, I had an uneventful Wednesday. Took a pair of dogs on walks in 95-degree weather. Not a whole lot going on. Close-up of bugs is awesome. That's such a lizard brain thing, and I love it. It's such like a 10-year-old could type that. Anyway, yeah, so I had a pretty uneventful Wednesday. Looked up a couple things for projects. I'm debating about whether or not I want to start 3D printing an air raid siren, because I have the motors and I have the motor controllers, and apparently people on Thingiverse have used the drone motors to make an air raid siren. Really, what an air raid siren is if you look at a bench grinder, you have outputs on both sides, and they put on this like air pump onto the outside that makes that noise. And so you have 2 tones, one on either side. But the Thingiverse air raid siren is configurable. You can swap out the fans and stuff to make different, the impeller rather, to make different tones, but you have one on each side, but they have individual motors for them, because I guess the kid who designed it just didn't consider old-timey ways of having a universal AC motor with 2 outputs on either side. point is, I can 3D print something that goes, but do I want that? Do I really want that? Do I want my hearing to be stressed out every time somebody raids in? Yes, I would like that, but would my roommates like that? No. I would have to make it much quieter than the mechanical system can be. Sometimes uneventful days are the best of days. Yeah, you know, lately doing this stuff on my own makes it kind of so that if I have any downtime, no, you don't. and instead you get that existential stress of not doing anything. But doing what I do means that sometimes I can't work on the project because it's not my stream day. I could have fired up stream and we could have worked on this thing, but I think we're better served doing most of the work. We have a fairly simple amount of tasks left to do. We basically have to just solder everything back in, and we're 95% of the way there. So let's get this stuff into this thing so that I can finally call this done. And then the spare parts, you know, you never order just one. The spare parts will go into the drawer, into the bins. I'm going to make sure that I personally see to it that the parts go into the bins, and then we'll be in good shape. Now this needs to have 24.9 written on it, and actually the 24.9 ohm resistors can go into this too, because I actually did just do the multimeter on some 24Ks. So 24.9K. I'm going to write that on this, but then I think we're probably going to transfer it into a bin, because this value is good for 3-volt systems and op amps. Okay, that is noted. Ow, poke myself with stuff in my pencil bin. Speaking of things that need to get organized. All right, so let's get to soldering, huh? This is that crazy chip that does not need to be $15. You can probably find a different DAC that's much less expensive. It's the DAC, oh Christ, I don't remember, 8164, which is like a high quality DAC, but I don't know. And then there's different like designations of this DAC that have different values to them, and I don't really know what the differentiation between them is. So I bought the one that's cheapest. Hopefully the cheapest one will be good enough for Julian. I don't think he'll run into any problems with it. Which one do I have? Probably the same exact one. 8164. C2. Probably like the same exact bin of parts. This one's ZV. All right, well, we'll see what, there'll probably be no discernible difference between them. I think there are different like classes for it, but I don't know. I don't think we'll see much difference. So we'll flip this buddy around, and then we'll get the anchor pin going. And then this almost warrants drag soldering because these pins are so close to one another. And then we got to make sure that this thing solders in properly, or else you get weird things happening on the channels. So, oh wow, that's perfectly positioned. Too bad that won't matter in just a minute. I mean, you know, maybe I can. Okay, so let's see if we can, without disturbing it, let's see if we can get a good, because I got the big iron on the tip, so I kind of want to preserve that. Oh, no, never mind. I already bumped it. Never mind. Out of the way. I thought I'd get away with it. Surely I could get away with such crimes. Nope. Never. Never. Oh, jeez, the solder's like right there. Okay, move that. Move this. Move that. There we go. Yeah, we're using the big iron for right now. Oh, that is sloppy. I don't like that. Considering if I want to just like hit this whole board with hot air just to make the soldering a little bit more neat and organized. Or I could fire up the oven. Oven's probably full of dust and it'll smell funny. So now that I have that one pin anchored, what I can do is what's called drag soldering. So with my large iron tip, and this isn't a chiseled tip, it isn't like an angled tip, but this will work just the same. What I'm gonna do, I know that always gets stuck in my head whenever I do this. I always say to myself, I got the big iron on my tip, big iron on my tip. I played a lot of New Vegas. I never beat the game, but I played it a lot. Actually, I think I did beat it once. It's one of the few Fallouts that I've actually beaten instead of getting completely engrossed by all the side quests. I have a horrible Bethesda habit, which is to just never finish Bethesda games. I did beat Skyrim, but I was also rip-roaring drunk when I did, so I don't really remember much of it. Alright, so I've fluxed the ever-living hell out of this thing, and what I'm going to do, and you don't really need to do much, is I'm going to load the tip up with a little bit of solder. Just a little blob of solder. You need way less than you think. So if I just load this thing up with a blob of solder, you don't necessarily need a chisel for this, although I would like a cleaner, the tip probably should be cleaner, but with all that flux there, what's going to happen is I just go down the line. Oh, hold on, I got to hold on to it with the tweezers so I don't bump it, because this isn't a traditional drag soldering thing. But if I just hold that bubble to all the pins, the flux, no, didn't quite work, didn't quite work. The flux should make it so that it just deposits only enough solder to actually make the connection and then pull the rest with it with surface tension. See, those pins were sorting themselves out all right. Yeah, if I use the bigger tip and it's a little bit more fluxy, usually it's a nice clean process and it leaves you with good looking solder joints with just enough solder on them. But I think my contact, see, it's perfect right there. Those went fine. These are just the ones that are kind of irking me. I guess it's okay. I don't think I've ever actually completed anything. Well, there's a statement. Kind of hoping I complete the current project. You know, it takes a lot more than people give credit to actually, quote unquote, complete something. You know, nothing's ever fully complete. You really don't ever complete anything because it's always an ongoing maintenance after the fact. But the amount of effort it takes to initially complete something is crazy. I do that very often here, is put in all of that extra metal, M-E-T-T-L-E. Yeah, so this is symptoms here, too much solder, but it should be coming out with the iron. So the iron may not be delivering the heat that I want it to. So we'll just involve a little bit of desoldering braid. Just a bit. You get the timing on that right so that I actually have soldered both of these pins. They look all right. They look all right. My glucose level is going to be nuts during this stream. I've already got dry mouth symptoms. It's just I ate a very carby lunch and I really shouldn't have, and it'll take a bit for my system to kind of acclimate to it. Hopefully I don't go low from too much insulin. I should have probably cut the meal in half. I think that's what I need to do from now on. Okay, so not the prettiest solder joints in the world. I mean, the drag soldering worked well enough. There's always on these TSSOP 16 pin, 16 or 18? 1, 2, 3, 4. 16 pins. I've worked with the op amps in this size a lot, and there can be like bad connections on the undersides of these pins sometimes. It's caused me a lot of grief in my circuits, wondering why things didn't quite work the way they should. And since this is going to Julian, I want to make sure that everything is, you know, the right foot forward. Now, next one that I want to replace is these resistors. And while I have the decently large thing here, I can at least get these away. These are unlabeled because they're I think 0402 sized, which is too small for a circuit like this. This thing is sized for 0805, and then I accidentally ordered 0603. So they'll still be too small, but they will be at least more identifiable. These are the correct part, but I'm not going to include them. I'm not putting these in. I'm going to swap them out for the ones that I just bought. That's a me thing. That's just my own personal mental thing that I'm doing, because I just can't suffer that to be the resistor that's in there. You don't flood with the flux before drag soldering? I did. You missed the part where I put the tacky flux on both rows of pins. It didn't flood as well as I think it probably should have, but there was some there. because that is, I mean, that is a key part of drag soldering is putting that flux down so that the surface tension of the solder is what's doing the talking, and it'll kind of bead up as it should, and you drag all the excess solder away. Once you solder something, the only way to get rid of that tinning, the tinning is just the metal coating, the only way to get rid of that is through mechanical means. You actually have to physically use an abrasive. And then the solder braid will just pull out the excess solder so that I can lay the chip resistor flat. These are the techniques that we are using today. We're going to try to get through the entire build, because I think we're close enough now that we can just wrap it up. And then we can get it actually functioning. We need to find what software we're going to put on this thing. That'll be once I get all the hardware, you know, ready to go. The software is for the Teensy 4.1, I think it's called. The scheming, the number scheme on the Teensy has changed, and it's confusing. But whatever Teensy we have, and we get all those pins soldered on it, we will figure out what the software should be. When are you planning on working more on the driving sim? Soon. I should have been working on it during the break. But Burn the Subs needs a little love. We need to actually get some work done on that. Ah, damn it! 39C, it's a code. Ugh, I hate these. I gotta order another set of these then. I hate it when they have a little code on it, and the code is like, what is this? What am I supposed to do with this? I guess it's a lot of digits to be putting on to a resistor, but still. Man, 39C, stupid. Stupid ass. I hate that. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Most resistors, you can see pleasantly have the number just written on them, 1003. So that's not a 1.003 kilo ohm resistor. That is a 100 kilo ohm resistor, because it's 100 and then 3 zeros afterwards. So now I got to spend more money on resistors, which are cheap. They're very, very cheap, but I was hoping that I would have this particular value. 24.9 is somehow probably an inverse or something. Very, very useful when you put it into the equation of an operational amplifier that's working on synthesizer voltages. So 10 volts peak to peak, 8 volts peak to peak. It needs to be tolerant of all of those. So basically, when you get a signal in that is 12 volts plus or minus, the maths it out to be 3.3 to 0. And that's where 24.9 comes in. The transfer function of the circuit that you're putting it into. Damn it! Why do you do this to me? So I need to get 0805 sized, but then if I build another, like for instance, a mutable instruments synth, it'll probably be 0603 sized. Those are a pain in the butt to build, by the way. The circuits are immaculate. You know, Emily can spin out a beautiful circuit that functions really nicely, and they are legendary modules, but working with the STM32 and soldering everything in 0402 size is torture. Yeah, I think I do want to put this to the oven. We'll put this through an oven cycle. Actually, once I get this done, we put the voltage regulator on, and then we can toss this thing into the oven. And then we'll clean up all the flux. Well, actually, no, then I'll solder all the through holes, and then we'll clean up the flux. Didn't see the smoke like I normally do with flux. Yeah, it's the thing that I keep saying. People say, oh my God, Father, you need something for the smoke. I have something, and it is a giant floor fan that's on my back. Not like Master Blaster. It's like it's pointed at my back. So that when I do solder, the smoke, well, there's a little bit of the smoke. That's not flying away as much. That must have been in a better position then. Do you use solder paste flux with a reflow oven? I don't think I am, because there's just a ton of flux sitting on this board. You can see how shiny all the joints are. That's all the rosin core of my solder still lingering. If this were like a consumer board that's been washed of all the flux, then I would consider, you know, doing a little bit of flux brushing. But I don't like to overdo it with the flux. I'm not Louis Rossmann. I don't throw everything into an ultrasonic cleaner all the time. We're going to be gassing me out just by using a bunch of cleaning alcohol. I may have to get more. My spray alcohol has been running low. There's also kind of a little bit of an excess of solder on a lot of these pins, so running it in the oven is not going to do anything about that. The oven is just going to kind of straighten up some of these funky looking ones. So on we go. So we put down all the 2.24.9. Oh, I forgot to solder that one. That's why we check. That's why we constantly check ourselves. Forced we wreck ourselves. Okay, that's what they all should look like. Just this beautiful transition from resistor to pad. I know KiCad has, is it KiCad or one of the circuit, I don't know, one of the circuit rendering programs has a thing where you can actually have the solder displayed coming down off of the resistor as if it was actually like soldered in the 3D model. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Master Blaster runs Bata Town. All right. So yeah, like those little off position resistors and stuff, I think we can correct just through the oven. And really the way that if I was building like 4 of these, what I would do is have some kind of a jig that holds onto the circuit boards that can get hot. And then we would be plopping down little bits of solder paste, and then the resistor just kind of lazily gets shoved on top of those solder paste blobs. And then if I took a video of it with the hot plate that I have that we can get the microscope on, I could have an extremely viral GIF. GIF. Oops, let's get that one in there. Here's a 3-volt regulator, and I probably have an equivalent 3-volt regulator, and we could probably have pulled it off of something else, but I bought the actual part because it was cheap. It wasn't expensive. Oh no, you know what? We're not doing this one yet. We'll do this one with a smaller iron. Actually, no, I can do this. I can do this. This is the actual one that's called for in the bill of materials, but I have a feeling I could have swapped in any old regulator from one of the little ESP boards that I have, or any number of, you know, that sort of thing. Where did the other 2 go? There's a little time. Okay, so to take a picture of this. Yeah, there. Underneath the solder thing, I crushed them. I crushed! Yeah, so these are the proper one. But I think last time the way we did it is we just pulled it off of one of the Wemos boards, because I had like a dead Wemos board. And since the Wemos boards are like $1, they're like $1 for an entire microcontroller thing. There's that regulator. So I think that's the same one. Or similar. I don't know what that is. What is that? Oh, something to reset it, I think. All right, put this away. Stop showing everybody your microcontrollers. Nobody cares, brother. Nobody cares. They're just here to antagonize you. They just want to make fun of the streamer, and they laugh and they laugh. And I just have to take it because I'm the streamer. All right, so these guys here. Yes. I would be showing off the raid light right now, but there's a chance that I get a raid today, and I want to make sure that the raid light is completely... Wow, these are like bent weirdly. I want to make sure that that raid light is ready to go. It's active. This thing works. It'll go for 30 seconds if I get a raid. The problem with being an unpopular channel is that if you bait people into trying to raid you for channel points... not channel points, to raid you and make all of this wonderful interaction stuff happen, if you don't actually ever get raided by people. There are days that go by that we don't get raids. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of shaking right now. My hand isn't in a good position. My wrist is not planted as it should be. Whew, that was a tough one. What up, 3D lasers? I kind of was thinking, like, if I do get the raid lights all active, and I, you know, every now and then I'll like buy another one so that there's lights all over the place. But it would be funny if I also had like lasers So it would be like somebody raids in and just all chaos breaks out. Lights turn off, lasers are all around. Oh my God, we got a raid. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Not just like an air raid siren and two of these things spinning around. It would be like a real like crazy thing would happen when you get a raid. And you know, eventually we can do that. I just don't have the equipment. I have the lasers. Well, not really. Not really. I should contact my friends who throw parties and see if they've got any hanging around. All right, we're making sure to put these parts into bins afterwards so that they don't get like relegated to a pile and then the pile gets thrown out. Because I think that's how I'm missing the second DAC that I ordered. Because they're $15 each. These are not cheap DACs. They're doing quite a job. R60, I'm not really concerned. I don't know what R60 is supposed to be doing, but I wanted to make like put like a full one in there, a full 1206, but I don't know if I'll be able to find one. Sorry about the hiccuping. I just ate lunch like a half hour ago, so my stomach settles and I end up hiccuping a lot. I try not to get it into the mic, but if I'm soldering something, then I don't have the extra hand to spare to mute myself. The neighbors too. There's a 3D printed air raid siren that I'm looking at, and while I could take my Harbor Freight bench grinder and turn that into an air raid siren, because I haven't really needed the bench grinder. I've got a belt sander now. But turn that into the motor that would activate the air raid siren as they do. I don't, you know, that's way too loud. What are you thinking, Bother? Why would you do this? Do you recover SMD passive components, or is it not worth it? I do, sometimes. I'm not crazy about it. You know, there's certain, I keep a bunch of old circuit boards under the bench, and if I need a special part, I will go surfing for it in those bins. For the full bridge rectifier that this thing has, that I actually got from a little cheapy 5-volt supply, and I had to take apart 2 in order to find one of those. Those cheapy 5-volt supplies sometimes use this particular surface mount full bridge rectifier. Now, we could be in for hard times if that full bridge rectifier, if it has too much of a voltage drop, but I don't think it will. I think it'll be the standard diode voltage drop. Oop, that's crooked. That's crooked. That's crooked. You guys are crooked. We were going to do crimes today, and you guys are just too crooked for crimes. It's crooked. Chat, are we crooked? What do you use for a fume extractor? It always comes down to that question, isn't it? Are you trying to trigger me? You're probably trying to trigger me. Clarence has been around for a while. I wouldn't say they would try to trigger me. That's my fume extractor. That and the windows open. You don't need a lot. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff, but I also have a bathroom fan there just in case things get really gross. But no, I generally don't do a lot of fume extraction. I don't find it to be that necessary when I've got a fan on my back that's mixing enough of the air around. I mean, if I were working with, you know, well, I do solder a lot. It's almost justified that I should get something to fume extract, but those things are monstrously expensive, and the ones you get that are just a fan with like a carbon foam filter on it, those don't do anything. They just don't do anything. I'm always paranoid about the fumes when I solder. You can put like a little computer fan on your desk just to blow away the smoke. It doesn't take much. You know, anything beyond just a little fan to blow away smoke, there's like a huge gap in capability until you get to the $700 fume extractor with like the super duper $300 filter in it. That's when you're getting into actual fume extraction that is useful. Whereas all of the other stuff are toys. They're just toys. They're not really going to do all that much for you. So I don't really go too far out of my way to satisfy that need. I'm gonna hold heat on this for a little bit because I want it to really solder in. This iron has a separate heater pod on it, or a larger heater pod for this very purpose. So I'm pumping BTUs into this thing to make sure that it solders sort of under there a little bit because there's a little bit of exposure underneath. So this is a 5-volt LM1117. I have been able to source these from my derelict electronics, but I'm not sure I would find another one of them. As long as the air above the project is moving away from you, I think it, yeah. What we had at the FBI, the technical center of the FBI, is this whole system that the guy, the person who ran that shop made up. And that guy was like my idol. I wanted to be that guy. I probably should have waited around until he went to retire because he's probably still working there. He probably has gray hair now. But that would have been the ideal job for Bother, was running a little shop like that where all kinds of weird projects would come in. That was when we were analyzing IEDs. But what this guy had set up was it was one of those drop floors and drop ceiling kind of deals. So under the floor, he had all of this big ducting, and then he had one of those expensive fume extractors. I think it was at his desk. It was a little too close. I probably would have put it somewhere else, but he wired up a bunch of valves that you would open, and then a little micro switch would activate the air thing. So you had these not easy hook, the whatever that ducting stuff is, the big plastic ducting coming up from the floor, and you would position that near where it had like a little fume like cone, and then you would lift up the valve and you would hear a click, and then everything would start sucking into that and doing proper fume filtration. IED, you probably want more protection than just a fume extractor. We didn't deal with the explosives. It's just the electronics. Boringly enough, I got to deal with the explosives several times actually, just because I was one of the better people at building stuff. And I guess they wanted to give the young guy the fun job. And we took a little go-kart out to the range where I had this device that I built that wasn't even my own design. It was for, to get an ooh-ah video for a court case. And this thing that I copied from some whack job's bomb design, I had to test it a lot to trust it. But we hooked the detonator up to 60 pounds of commercial explosives before we get out of the golf cart to set up the 60 pounds of commercial explosives in a cardboard box. The FBI, the bomb FBI guy, taps my shoulder with a pair of plexiglass safety glasses, and he goes, "Put these on." And I'm like, "What are these supposed to do with 60 pounds of commercial explosives?" And he kind of looks at his other FBI guy and he says, "Well, your eyes will be okay." It made a crater that you could stand in, and the ground was wet that day, wet and heavy ground, and it made a crater big enough to stand in. Good times. The first time I hit the button, nothing happened. And it was kind of like a little bit of a drizzly day. And I'm like, oh no. And then I hit the button again, because there was a whole bunch of people at the range, and there was like a bleachers full of people, because they were doing all these ooh-ah bomb stuff for court case videos. And everybody did a countdown, and then I pressed this button and nothing happens. I was like, oh no. And then I press it again, and there was a big kerthoom from far away. Perfect comedic timing when your heart is in your throat. The schism between sound and kersplode. This is a PNG image, so it's like the worst quality I possibly could have. We need a 4.7 ohm resistor. How necessary is that? Can I just put a 0 ohm in there? I probably can. Why do we have a load in between our powers here? The LM1117.5 probably doesn't even call for that. Far be it from me to criticize another's power supply design, but I do not see why we are posting a resistor randomly in our power supply. What the biggest explosion you saw or helped coordinate was, I'm gonna say it was the 60 pounds of commercial explosives that I set off in a field. Yeah, I think that is pretty definitive. I haven't done anything you know, building destruction or anything like that, you know? Anything beyond that, I didn't have anything to do with. And I'll swear that in a court of law. Where did they get the idea to put this shunt in there? I mean, it's maybe overcurrent protection, kinda. But 4.7 ohms? This email could have been a jumper. A yumper. That's on V out. On an adjustable. I mean, this isn't a definitive list of example circuits. This is just Google image searching. So, you know, they're going to be a little truncated, but I don't think in any of the examples that we've seen, there's been a resistor. So I may just put a shunt on there that is the right size, that looks like the right thing. Because I don't see why you would have that. And a lot of the circuits we've used that have 1117s on them don't have that. They don't bother. Usually done to reduce heat dissipation in the voltage regulator. It's a common technique. I did not ever know about that. So you're trying to reduce the amount of just blatant heat garbage that this thing is creating by having a sacrificial resistor do current limiting for you. And when I installed it in this one, I probably against all recommendations, put in an 0805, but they want a 1206, and I don't know where I would find a 1206 low ohms resistor. I have shunts, but those are like 0. I've never heard of that, and it's probably something that would be useful in this. Because this is running, typically it's running 70 milliamps at 12 volts, but it's way less than that is going to the ESP. Just put 20805s. Shut up, back of my head. Speaking about power supplies, nobody here was talking about power supplies. I don't know where you got that idea. I spent 5 minutes arguing with Copilot what the pinout of a BD139. Why are you spending your time doing that? Go to Google some stuff and get a piece of paper and sketch down a schematic. Like, why are we debating pinouts with Copilot? Gross. Man, I've noticed like a surge in AI. People who are showing me their AI stuff, and I don't like it. The Google AI will be more helpful. Google's going to be switching to AI conversation, and so I could not faster switch to DuckDuckGo. You guys are going to see me struggling with DuckDuckGo in the future. I miss Google. I wish they put out a product that was old Google, old.google.com, but the Google's apparently so gung-ho with AI stuff that they think you want to have a conversation. So these unimaginative idiots think that when I Google something, I am asking like one of my minions to give me this information, but that's not what it is. I don't think anybody like, maybe the way that we treat Google search is obsolete, but it's like looking up library books that'll give you the information. So where do I go with this? This is that subject? Okay, I'll go to that section over there and look at it. That's kind of how we treat Google search, right? We don't treat it like it's asking like a being with the knowledge to divulge. I don't like the direction this trend is going in. Every time you correct an AI, an engineer loses their job. Something big is going to blow up because of AI, isn't it? I can still use Google search in the traditional way, but if you click the Gemini button, then you have a conversation. It's like, I don't want to have a conversation. I want to find data, and I want to correct my glucose level. Could you imagine if some AI stuff was responsible for managing my glucose level? Where's framed BG? Oh, there it is. Blink. Yeah, that's why I have dry mouth. That right there. Actually, that's not as much of a spike as I thought it would be. And I did give a lot of insulin. Like, this is for current bother who's on the Ozempic. I got that Ozempic running through my veins. I'm more powerful than you can possibly ever imagine. My insulin sensitivity has gone way up It used to be a cool 20 units to eat as much food as I ate there, and I did not feel good eating this much food. I'm not going to eat that much food in the future. I will be having everything. But yeah, I knew I was right. I was just testing AI. Yeah, man, you just hear so much about frustration when using that stuff, huh? A DeWalt battery charger, huh? I've got to rearrange some of that stuff too. The DeWalt hang-up area behind me, completely out of control. Okay, hold on. I miss Alta Vista. Well, DuckDuckGo is headquartered right by my Wawa. And actually, I don't know if they're still there because the sign marquee, I don't think it says DuckDuckGo anymore. It's like this office building, but it looks kind of like a dollhouse because it's got all this decorative stuff on it. Right by like a nail salon that has turned into a vape shop and a Ford dealership. But they're right there, right by the Wawa that I go to. So maybe I'll use DuckDuckGo and support local businesses. I hear it's okay. My personal opinion, my usage at this time, I feel greatly benefits because I remember what we're discussing. Oh, because it remembers what we're discussing. Sure, everybody can have their own justification for why they are using the Murder Nightmare machine that kills all of our water and is definitely the Torment Nexus that all of the authors told us not to build, and then the tech builders built the Torment Nexus. You can justify that in any way you want. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like AI. Kind of sucks. All right, so let's see. You and you. We're making sure to put our toys away, because if I don't, then apparently I can't find them ever again. And then we're going to try to find a low value but large sized resistor that can go in there, because who said it again? It was Opossum had a wonderful comment that I would never have thought of, and is actually kind of a useful thing for us to know, is that putting the low value resistor there, you are limiting a little bit of the current that the regulator sucks down, and so it'll run a little bit cooler. Potentially. And I'll put that in there because this unit does get pretty warm. It does actually get pretty warm. I live in the Desert Empire, and they want to put one of these data centers in a place called Salton Sea. Huh. Just because they can. Just because they can. They kind of just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So let's see where we can find. I don't know if we'll be able to find a 4 ohm resistor in the box of tricks that I got going on down here, but we'll take a look and see. We'll take a look and see. Something with a big power supply. This thing doesn't really use components that are that big. The Blackmagic video recorder. Yeah, I don't really see any resistors that are... These are using like the smallest size resistor because Blackmagic has a lot of money and they're able to put a lot of computing computing power into their devices. This thing is chip heavy. Not big power supply stuff though. I think power's coming in right here, and I don't see any resistors that are even observable next to a grain of sand. Okay, so that's out. This IBM board was sent in by a viewer, and it is some kind of a parallel port processor that has a lot of shift registers, and it's also a piece of biological sandpaper. If you ever need flesh to be removed from bone, this is your go-to right here, this thing right here. But this is a bunch of old stuff, so it's not really useful to us. It's just there for funsies. I should probably put it up on the shelf, just so I don't cut myself on it every time I pull it out. This is an old CD DJ board. It's full of micro switches, which I may need for the 5505, the 550505. But it doesn't have anything surface mount, so, well, okay, it's got a couple things surface mount. It is about that era of technology, but I don't see any big old 1206. 1206 is harder to find, and we may have to put in 0805. This is a power supply. It does not have any 1206, though. We're sort of looking for early 90s, mid 90s. Surface mount technology when we're looking for a big resistor like this. And I don't know if we'll be able to find a 4 ohm one. BMW from the early 2000s, mostly 0805s, and they're all conformal coded. Up there, not quite. There's some cool stuff on here, but it's all under conformal coding, so Nothing 1206. We can visually identify without the microscope 1206s, and because I'm crouching under my desk right now, I can't see you. So I will read chat in a minute. GeForce 4. This is about the right era of technology, and in the power supply section, I see stuff that I've removed. And they don't exactly look like 1206 resistors. Those are 0805 at best. Underneath in the power section, nah, nothing. Miscellaneous and unidentified circuit boards. Not surface mount. Ethernet card. Big diodes, no big resistors. Nothing underneath, nothing underneath. I don't know how apt I am to... I really want to put this thing in the oven to finish it, but I also don't want to bother. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Sony's not going to have it. How about you, you big old stinker? Aha! There are some very large resistors on this one. This is a 3D printer controller. Oh, my legs! Oh my god! You could stack two 10 ohm resistors or an 8 ohm in parallel. That's true. Might be able to get away with a smaller footprint. That's true if I put them directly side by side. Yesterday had a high over 90. Today the high is in 68. You mean Fahrenheit, right? You mean like outdoor temperature? It's like, it was 95 out there yesterday, but the air handler was inundating me with cold air, so I was actually down here shivering. Okay, let's see what we got. I don't have to get the value exact. If it's more ohms, it's going to get hotter, though. That's a 100 ohm resistor. That's almost... I know it's like an order of magnitude. But still, that's something we could... I could put a couple of these on top of one another. a bunch of kobolds on top of each other in a trench coat. Still looking. Fan. Oh, this must be where... Yeah, I think we got capacitors from this board previously for this build. I saw ones that weren't... Yeah, there we go. T150. F3. What the hell? What the hell's F3? See, that's R. This one's F. Or T150. That must be the fuse. Yeah, that's the fuse. So that's a... not a metal oxide varistor. It's the other kind. It's like a silicon heat junction. When that heats up, it'll disconnect. Which, I mean, by all means, I could put something like that in there, but yeah, let's just follow the design. So we lucked out and we found a bunch of 1206 resistors, but they're 100 ohms. PTC thermistor. Yes, those are the words that I was looking for. Thank you. Thermistors are great. I like putting them on there. Is a 4 ohm resistor kind of unusual? Yeah, unless you're doing like a shunt amplifier. I don't really see them all that much, and I forgot to order one from Mauser, so the number that I have is 0. I probably have some 0805 ones, to be honest. I think that's our best bet. Is just put an 0805 in there, and it'll do the same amount of heat mitigation, and it'll probably get a little warmer than the 1206 would, just because of its size and heat dissipation properties. I know I've gotten away with the 0805s, so... I just don't see a resistor in the path of the voltage regulator, ever. I've never seen that technique before. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. You're doing a little current limiting. This has a bunch of shunts, but I think they're just a piece of metal. This is also car circuitry, and it's also potentially something that I could use to run the steering wheel motors back and forth, although I don't totally know how to... Actually, yeah, I don't know. Is this totally useless? This is like damaged too. I got it for 20 bucks, but it's like a whole computer that speaks CAN bus. And I can fool it into thinking that it's still a seat. You are a chair. Too small. Oh, this is a glucose meter. This is one of those voltage-based glucose meters, and it's actually, we did a little reverse engineering of this thing. We reverse engineered it a little bit, and it turns out it has these very accurate voltage references that it then calibrates itself to. So there's like a chip in here that's just like a switch, and it switches over to the other line, and it says, okay, that's 5 volts. Okay, let's go over to here and measure this thing. Kind of cool. This is the same circuit that I was just looking at. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. What else is in here? All manner of weird. What the heck? Oh, I took all the USB sockets off of that. This thing doesn't have any surface mount. Too old. Too old. No. All right. Anybody else? Surface mount with large electronics. We're getting to the end of the supply of derelict circuit boards, which is not a fun place for Bother to be. Oh, here's another one. I didn't even have to take apart any new voltage regulators. There was one sitting right there. Ah, darn it. Wait, this one has some big resistors, but I think they're 0805s. Let's check. Taking components off of working equipment. You know, if the motor's running, then it doesn't need a battery, so I could swap it. Ew, dust. Oh, I could have taken this one instead of taking apart those other 5-volt supplies. Hello. 5.1 ohms. Oh, but wait, those aren't 1206. Those are 0805. 4703, 470. Yeah. Are they 0805? Wait a minute. How big? No, those are 1206s. The fact that all of the resistors are the same dimensions. What? 47 ohms. What does the circuit call for again? 4.7. So 47 ohms is close, but it's not quite it. I think we'll go with 5. But those are 4703. Those are the 1206s. That's a 1206, I think. Or it's something similar. Short version. Wait. Surface mount components physically are common as 4 ohm. Not very common, although we are finding stuff similar. Why did you ask AI and then type it into my... Don't do that. I don't want to read AI. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to smell it. I would rather get an informed answer from just carte blanche Googling and clicking on the first link. We are all AI. Well, then you guys could be a little snappier on the responses. If I'm not paying you to chat slowly. There's a 0 ohm. Yeah, 5R6 is probably as close as we're getting. Wait, 5A60. And this is 5R10. Theoretically 5.1, but we'll get the multimeter to this. I mean, that looks to be about the size. Yeah, we'll do that. I don't know if the blue one is particularly high wattage or what, or do we use the one that just looks normal? It was probably just a matter of ordering one or the other, but 5.1 should be fine. Let's go ahead and take this one. Glowy arm. Wow! Mahalo! Thank you for subbing for 81 months. Oh, no, you guys missed it. That thing turned on. I should probably make that turn on a little longer. Let's bump that up. So that would be sub. and then 4 seconds. We're gonna make that 6. There we go. So now we got a nice long light, because it doesn't happen all that often, so. And then if it's a gift, we put it on this one. I'll make it a little longer for that one. I don't know what happens when it's a multi-gift. It probably just gets the same signal over and over again and then deactivates it. Mahalo, thank you so much for subbing for 81 months. Another cycle through the simulation. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, so magically, I think we found the right part. Switching scenes. Yeah, if it switched scenes to capture the light bulb, I'm going to do a little bit of toying with these two, and I'm going to make it so that all the lights turn out and then this thing activates. I need to build the second one first, and I have 10. Oh, that probably screwed up our microscope. I have 10 of the ESP 12S's, the little boards that we were using, coming in the mail. Gonad, I flipped over to Gonad's stream just before starting up today, and he was playing with these little ESP 01 boards. They're the ones that are like flatter and they've got the 2-row header. And he had a board that it plugs into that's just a relay board. That could have saved us so much time because that's all this is. It was basically this whole project, but not solid state. It had a relay and it was just its own contained thing. Okay, so... Oh, you mean the glowy arm and my thermals? Yeah. I wish I could take the thermals in with me when they have to poke a hole in my arm and get a bunch of blood out, because I'll be like, look, there they are. Those are the veins. Okay, bing, bang, boom. Let's get this thing out of here. Set it to like 1 minute for a month. I mean, we almost get that few number of people announcing their subscriptions. And it's okay to fly under the radar. Except for you. You're not allowed to do that. Wait, who's he talking to? Who did he just call out? Did he just call somebody? He just called somebody out. I don't know who it was. He just said some vague... Anyway. Yeah, I want to make those do all kinds of stuff. We just finished building it, and it was the most boneheaded build that I've experienced in a long time, because the thing we were trying to do was so simple. It's literally just flip a switch. And I've got Node-RED already set up, and I've got microcontroller code already set up for that exact task. So easy peasy lemon squeezy, you just throw it all together and it works. But then we wound up blowing everything up while trying to make it. So I don't know. That one was a hit to my confidence. Now I'm just full sending this circuit. One way to go about building something like this is to take it piecemeal. If you're afraid that or if you're unconfident about your soldering skills and stuff, you could build this section by section, like build the power supply and then verify that the power supply works. Then you build the amplifier circuit and you send a signal into the amplifier circuit. That's something that maybe I should have shown, and I think we would have had a pretty good stream with, but I guess we're not doing it. It's too late. I'm just going to do the streamer thing and just full send the whole project right off the bat. Ooh, did I burn that up? Kind of looks burnt up. I think it's just flux on it. Theoretically, this shouldn't be too hard to, or this should be hard to burn. I mean, it looks like it fits there. It looks like the right thing. It's just 1 ohm more than what is called for originally. I find it baffling that we were able to actually even find the right component. Oh, it's sticking up on one side. Hold on. I'm never using IO2 again. I want nothing to do with that IO number 2. Hopefully when we get a little alcohol in this, it'll clean up all of the scorching, the apparent scorching of the resistor. Okay, and then get the voltage regulator soldered. And then this thing is ready for the oven. Ready for the easy bake oven. What the? Oh, and don't use big solder. We use small solder for this. Yeah, got to make sure to cook through the resistor and have a nice flaky crust. And golden brown and delicious is the goal. Golden brown. The sky is red. What? Golden brown. Something, something, British politics. Okay, that's too little solder. Well, actually, that might just be enough. I'm going to run this through the oven just to clean everything up and realign all the weird stuff like that capacitor. And that should ensure that all of my solder joints are okay, unless we see them blatantly fail. And you do that before you do any of the plastic stuff. So all the headers that can't take the heat of the oven. I don't think we need to do anything with reset. Did we do anything with reset up here? I have just the resistor in there. That's a 10K. Oh no, it's a 100K. All right, let's get a 100K in there just so we have it. I got to get that from the big stacks. I haven't seen a moth in a little bit. Those are capacitors. This goes up to 27. Yeah, that tip is good for like big stuff. It's the one that I grabbed just before I do the giant chisel tip. $100K. I'm not sure if that resistor does anything when it doesn't have the transistor right by it, but I'll put that in because it's in mine. And then again, our microcontroller is different. The Teensy 4.1 is different than the 3.2 that we have in the old one, so who knows? I don't think I had much trouble with this circuit though, because everything's nice and big. And if you're going to do something like buy a mutable instrument module, look to see if somebody's made a larger equivalent circuit, because Emily made them for production and used very, very tiny components, which are cheaper and easier to like lay out. But then people taking the designs, because the designs were open sourced, they took the designs and they spread them out a little bit better, and they made larger components work with it so that you don't have to go through the waffle that I did, where you have to go in and trace your individual circuits to see if components is soldered completely or not. At that size, it's very annoying. I really hate, yeah, the white PCB showing all of the nasty flux all over it. I need to like brush that with alcohol, but yeah, it's very annoying. The green is just fine. It looks great. It hides that yellow flux weirdness. Okay, so what we can do is I can dust this thing off. Oh my God, here we go. We're in for it, chat. We are definitely in for it. We gotta get, I gotta clear a space first off. Gotta put all these circuit boards back. And then we got to pull out the oven from right there. And I think I've got it all set up to do a nice little heat cycle. That'll flow over all the components. Unfortunately, we can't really see it happening. That's why I was kind of annoyed when a user, a viewer who had great resources, wonderful, amazing, deep pockets, I suppose I should say, they sent in this oven that's hackable, wonderfully hackable software, but being that this is a professional tool and not just like a toaster, it doesn't really have that big of a window, and I don't like that. There goes another moth. Shit. Where are they coming from? That better not have been the one that I got before. Where did it go? I'm gonna kill that moth if I see it. I've got like an invasion of candle moths. Oh, that needs a wipe. Hold on, I'm gonna dust it off. Wipe off all the dust. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know what their food source is. But I keep finding them. Where are my wipes? Where are my wipes? Where are my hello? Where'd they go? Huh. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they got borrowed. Those are kind of a borrow item. Are they over here? No, no, no. Not there, not there. Don't know where my wipes are. How can she wipe? He can't see if he doesn't have his glasses. I guess I'll just use paper towel and Windex. There's dust all over this because it lives under the desk. It's good to get this thing out and give it a quick dusting. Oh, there they are. I found them. I found them, and look at all these moths. No. If you want to show us, the hot plate will work better than that. Yeah, this is a little bit less of a liability, though, because the oven isn't a giant open face burn maker. Flare of flesh. Should I use the? Yeah, maybe we should do the hot plate. Hot plate will be more fun. All right, well, whatever. That needed to be dusted off anyway. Put this back. This thing that I never use. If ever I make like a test circuit or like a breakout for some weird chip or something, and I need to manufacture something so that I can send it off to buyers, like I make my own little electronics kit thing, then that oven will be very useful. But I think I need to store that in the back room. I think that's completely useless on something as visual as a stream. Instead, we have our buddy right here, which is a small-ish desktop hot plate. This goes back into these. I missed. All right. Hot plate. So I'm going to get all the plastic away. Get some of our toys away. Ah! What the? Code Rushed is raiding with a party of 4. What's up, Code Rushed? You are the first actual activation of the raid light. Should I make that air raid siren so it's like oh man, that's awesome. So yeah, see, it works. And it draws 360 milliamps. It would be 800 if we had the lamp in there. You should, says Uo Slab. What's going on, Code Rushed? There's a 3D printed air raid siren that you can make, and it takes those 3-phase outrunner motors. We gotta move the microscope for this. This needs to go up. It needs to elevate. Oh, we're also, wait a minute, guys. Chat, how could I do this? How could I do this? This is unacceptable. Unacceptable that I would allow something like this right in front of you. And you know, I apologize for this. So well, okay, that one's gone. Never mind, okay, we gotta make this happen. Can't believe I neglected this when we first bought it. And Yui. Yeah, I'm gonna call this thing Yui. Very rare that we get to take out Yui. Maybe a little further out. There we go. Everyone will start streaming just so they can raid. Raids are only active when you have more than 2 viewers, because if you just started up your own personal channel right now, which you can do, everybody can do that. And you guys all have emotes too. You have like 1 or 2 emotes that you guys can actually make, as long as they, you know, adhere to toss. Oh, look, they're different sizes too. Perfect. But yeah, if you just take your personal channel and you go /raid oh bother, the raid light will not turn on. If you have more than 2 and you raid in, then you will get the 30-second activation of that light. And listen, I mean, I could make it so that one singular raid could activate it, because we don't have enough raids as it is. So, somebody said idea. Yeah, just more than one, just so that you can't just raid yourself in. How hot does this thing get? Hot enough to fry eggs? Yeah, we should clean off the top before we use it. I don't feel like smelling whatever that stuff is that's on top of this thing. Oh, wait, did Gonad raid in? No, he's just looking at us right now. I have Flatulent Gonad up on another monitor. We're about to use the ultimate in shop injury. This thing is the Burnulator 5000. Oh my God, Flatulent Gonad is raiding in with a party of 27. We just had Code Rushed was the first person to ever use this. And now Gonad has proven its functionality. I mean, I think this is awesome. Later on, I'm going to get a little metal panel, and I'm going to screw that onto the wall and be able to put this on that panel. And then we'll figure out where the second one will go. I have the other one. It's sitting over there. But yeah. These are going to get a home like on the wall and stuff, so that we can have all the lights turn off in the shop, and then it'll just be the rotating orange. Yeah, and maybe get lasers so that we get lasers like a giant klaxon. There's a 3D printed air raid siren on Thingiverse, and it uses little hobby motors, so we'll use that. But hey, it works. It works. How's that? Pretty cool. All right, well, in spite of having a heat wave here, I'm going to be turning on this stupid thing. Beware of burns. Yes, I think I will beware of burns. Yes, thank you. I had a klaxon in my car for a bit. It was very loud. I'm a little worried about how loud it's going to get. Which one can we unplug? This one went to the 505, right? Yeah, that's the one that's just hanging out on my desk. Let's unplug that. Yeah, there. Yeah, I know, lasers have gotten very cheap for very dangerous lasers. Ones that technically, according to the law, you are not allowed to be shining into a crowd. You can get very easily. And actually there was a, who was it again? Play with Junk. Play with Junk just showed why the blue lasers are so prevalent and powerful. It's because when they make RGB in order to have a projector, they're not scanning a laser across. What they're doing is they're sending the laser into the optics to make blue, but then they put the blue laser onto glow-in-the-dark stuff. And the glow-in-the-dark stuff makes a yellow, which has the 2 other color components. That's the green and the red, making the yellow. So you have blue, green, and red just from a blue laser source. And they have to have the glow-in-the-dark shit on a disc, and the disc spins, because with a blue laser hitting the thing, it's creating, with all the UV component of blue lasers, it's creating a lot of heat. And so to dissipate the heat, they have a rotating disc mechanism. It's so clever and weird. Why are you not on? Oh, there's a switch in the back. Yeah, let me just get the switch in the back of this hot plate. Need to get Electron Trash as a guest sometimes. He knows many things about lasers. I know quite a bit about lasers too. I've been using them for a long time. This just says 28. Okay. This thing makes me nervous. So it's a totally worthy shop tool. We still need to position the microscope too. Projector lasers? Yeah, I mean, that would be a fascinating conversation for sure. All right, we're going to use the hot plate. We're going to use the microscope with the hot plate. The disc doesn't just rotate, it moves so the laser moves in a spiral like in a CD drive. Really? The one that they had was just like it had just a fixed line on the outside, so it didn't do like a back and forth kind of movement. It just hit one spot. Anyway, yeah, we had a flyby from Uo Slab. If you guys haven't checked out that channel, you'll be seeing more cool stuff than what I do. We do like building stuff and normal engineering. There's like a spot from me killing one of the moths on this monitor. I have these candle moths that have taken over the shop for some reason. Maybe it's because I need to take the trash out, but I don't know if that's the case. What do we test this on? I need a circuit board that mostly doesn't have components on the top side. I had that board and I think I just threw it back in here and I don't know where it is now. It was a nice board that didn't have any components on the top, and then I would probably be able to just throw that on here. Where did it go? Okay, what else can we test it with? What else do I have? I have little breakouts that I could test with. Yeah, like this one. No, not that one. Let's see. Well, earlier in the stream, I was looking for those components that Gonad had, the ESP01, because I've got one of them in here, and I've got a couple of the little helper things. Oh, yeah, here it is. Wait, this isn't it. Something else. Whoa! Dimok! Oh, no, Damok. Darmok. At Tanagra. Oh yeah, this is a different one. Ah, it's different than what you have. This one doesn't have that small header. It's got like, you guys can't really see it, but it's got a much larger header on it. It's totally different. I know I've got one of those somewhere. All right, I need a board to test if the temperature is right on this thing. I don't want to just throw this synthesizer module directly into the oven, you know? Although I was about to shove it directly into the oven. I was actually about to do that. But I'd like to test it with something else first. Let's see about this thing. Some of these boards that I never used. I don't even know what you are. It's like a I2C switch. They're cheap as beans, yeah. This is the most dangerous thing in the world. This is an open hot plate. So this whole surface right here, as you can see on thermals, is screaming hot. Give it a lick test. Yeah, there you go. Oh boy. Let's see what the microscope is doing, if it's frozen or not. It is not frozen. It seems that we have good focus going on, and we're right here in the middle. So if I put this down, it will get hotter and hotter. And then I should be able to... Did I put this down on top of my tweezers? I did. No, this isn't going to work very well with my shaky hands. I'm a little bit shaky today. It's not so bad. I don't know why my hands started shaking. Maybe I need to work out my hands again. I need to start doing arm workouts. Oh, look, it's one of those Arduino distance modules that everybody got a dozen of in their project boxes and never uses. Yeah, because I did a distance sensing project for the pandemic, because everybody did one. I was going to make a parking meter for my parents. Okay, there we go. So this is flowing over just fine. So now I get to figure out how in the hell I'm going to take this thing off of the hot plate without burning myself and everybody around me. Everybody in chat's going to get a nice little burn served up on a plate. Okay, so we'll put a little bit of flux around the ICs. This thing is like ticking. A little bit of tacky flux on the ICs. There's still a lot of flux on the board because we just built this thing, but this is sort of like the super professional last step. We don't have to do this with this project. I'm doing it so that it looks really good and all the ICs are all aligned and everything. Not totally necessary. It's just something that I'm doing to be nice. All right, so now to the microscope. I know this is harrowing. And this thing just ploops down. Look at that, it's already flowing over. Everybody just kind of works themselves into a position here. It may happen slowly as the whole board heats up to temperature. And then the larger stuff should follow eventually. And it's going to get real stinky in here. The chip, this soldered over. You can see right there. Oh, everything's smoking. Everything's smoking from the flux. Oh my God. We're gonna die. It's horrifying. All right, I'm gonna let this smoke for a little bit. I don't want it to sit for too long, but it is gonna create a little bit of smoke as things sort of heat up. I want to wait for those. I don't know if the 0805s are gonna actually position themselves properly. I see it a little bit. Give it a little tap. This is what gives you the cancer, not the lead. That's why I don't use a lot of flux in this shop. See, like that transistor is not moving. I don't know how long I can keep this here before it really, before I start a fire. The caps look like they've positioned themselves. It's just I'm not seeing it from the resistors. The inductor did. That looks like it's moving. That capacitor hasn't moved. Oh, R60. Just went into position. Look at it go. You can do it, little guy. Yeah, look at him go. See, there it goes. Just little by little. When the board starts turning brown, Julian would not be pleased. Although I would be out like 20 bucks maybe to buy a new one. And shipping. Shipping is always annoying. Maybe I should have gone with flux on everybody. The board warps, you may want to push it down with tweezers. It seems pretty unwarped right now, but just... Oh, there we go. There's a lot of ticking noises when I did that. Yep, see those just jumped into place? Come on, R30. We're waiting for you. Just do a little tiny turn. You can do it. If my hand slips, I'm dead. I'm going to die in a field hospital of an infection. Because of the level of burn. Now, if anybody wants to try to break into the shop right now, now is the time. And I can assure you that your face will get pressed into this and completely disfigured and burnt. Because that's what always happens in the action movies. So I'm no exception to the rule. All right, so the monstrously dangerous hot plate did not do as much resistor rearranging as I thought it would. I think maybe there's not enough flux sitting around those resistors for it to flow over the way that I want it to, or I just need to apply this longer. This should not burn the circuit board, and it shouldn't warp or deform it because it's very carefully controlled. It's 230 degrees C, so I don't think it'll damage it. Yeah, how'd you get that burn? It's complicated. I want to poke that so that it'll rearrange itself, but I also don't want to burn myself. So here's the thing about this setup is that it's extremely dangerous. I don't know how I can extract the circuit board from it. I think the best that I can do is turn it off and we just wait for this thing to... No, it's enough to melt the solder. I mean, I don't know. This is on the recommendation of chat that I set it to this temperature. So we saw all the solder flowing over on this thing. So it's totally fine. So now we wait for it to cool off enough that the solder gets tacky enough that I can... Oh, we didn't put that resistor on. We'll have to do that in a minute. There's a 100K resistor sitting on the desk somewhere. I don't know where it is. We forgot to put it on. That's fine. Poke it? Yeah, I'm not going to poke it. It'll unseat all of the components. Plus, the reason I'm not poking it is I have to hold my hand up over all this stuff. That ain't happening. I should make like a little gantry on top of this thing so I can actually like poke things. This is definitely going to damage sensitive ICs and some resistors. You are only supposed to stay at soldering temperature for 10 seconds. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We can scooch it off. Now, without melting anything, down there, let that cool off separately. And then the hot plate, I'm going to put somewhere that myself and my dog will not interact with. Jeez, this thing is a dangerous little bastard, isn't it? Let's put it right there. Whoops! Ow. All right, you think about what you did. Cool off. S&D soldering is not for the shaky-handed. If you do it on the bench, it is fine to have shaky hands, and I display all kinds of different... That's why I have the arm cam up constantly. I would reflow my boards in a skillet when I was in college. It'll be just fine. Yeah, I was going to do the toaster oven one because the toaster ovens have a nice big glass window leading into them, so you can actually see like all of the stuff happening. But I decided to try the hot plate, and I think it's a very visually fun because I can have the microscope looking directly at the thing and we can get it in HD. I think I just needed to flux it up a little bit more, but it did clean up quite a bit of the sort of nastiness from hand soldering all of that surface mount stuff. Ow! Ow! Owie, owie, ow. It's only a little hot. So that would be skillet soldering. The real cool way to do it though, and we didn't do it for this because this is a lot of parts gathering. We had a lot of times when I had to like hunt for parts in random ass boards that I've got sitting around the shop, because that's, you know, I have to make it harder than it actually is to build synthesizers. So the way that we should have done it is by me getting a bunch of these bins and clicking them all together and having individual components in all the bins. When I collect everything and have it laid out and ready to go, we would put this board onto the skillet, maybe tape down the corners, use a pen of liquid solder to go over all the stuff. With the ICs, you can just kind of put a line down them, and then you plop your components down onto that solder paste. The solder paste is basically a suspension of little tiny beads of solder in flux. And so when you flow it over, the solder paste will like, bleh, it'll like spread out, and then all of a sudden it'll form up into beads of solder, and it will perfectly coat every single pin and pad on this thing. Even the stuff that's a little bit crooked will kind of nudge its way into position. What we did is we used actual rosin core solder and soldered everything, and then it sat for a day or two. And so the rosin core solder wasn't really around anymore. You saw the stuff that I soldered today actually did rearrange itself nicely and sort of even up the solder on it. So it was okay, but it would have been better if I had used a, you know, the proper process. Yeah, it's really cool to watch when it does work. And one day we'll do that. It's just Julian came to me with this project and I said, cool, that'll be a 1-stream project. And so here 3 streams later, and an entire week of working on this thing, we can finally actually get to the through-hole stuff and potentially finish it today. Potentially. So I have a lot of through-hole stuff to go here. Where do I even begin? I guess we need to do the Teensy 4. Was it 4? Yeah, I'm going to finish this one off stream, I guess. I have one of those Triac modified toaster ovens from like 10 years ago with an Arduino temp profile. I should have that, but then one of the well-to-do stream watchers from back in the pandemic era sent me this totally professional, hackable reflow oven, and that thing is like the master at doing this kind of soldering. It is really good at it, but I don't have a ton of use for it. Even right now, we just switched gears to not use it. Perfectly soldered QFNs with exposed pads allow us to introduce QFNs with exposed pads. Hey, I can do those. The quad flat no leads at least have the thing on the edge. They've got a little bit of overlap on the edge of the chip. Quad flat no lead means you just have like a square piece of epoxy that's your chip, and it just goes right down. There are no leads on it. There are just edge exposed pads. They're very annoying. They're cool. They don't take up a lot of room. They're hand solderable, except if you've got the big heatsink pad on the bottom. All right, so here's the stuff that Julian left me with. And we've got our front panel, 2 knobs of his choice. I guess he wants really rubberized knobs. I'd rather have metal. We have some header material that we may or may not use. Because I don't have square female headers, this is kind of a problem around here. I have this, which is really terrible stuff, and I don't want to use it. Yeah, I don't have good female headers. I've got the machine pin rounded ones, so we're going to use those. And hopefully Julian will never take this thing out and try to put it into a different circuit, because it's going to get my specialty headers. They're not totally uncommon these days, and these make better contact, and they don't drop your components out if they're slightly perturbed. But I ordered like 250,000 of these fucking things, so I got to use them. The most annoying is the Voodoo graphics card repair because they're unleaded and there's no way to know, so you basically have to reball every single time. Reballing is one of those processes that I've seen, but I've never done. I could probably handle it, but it sounds like it is a pain in the butt. All right, Teensy 4.0. Ask me how I know. You have to have a die to recreate the balls. You got to reball. We ball. Teensy 4 is a bruiser of a microcontroller platform. Oh yeah, and by the way, everything was kind of crazy there. Thank you everybody for all the raids. I really appreciate giving me raids. Hey, what's up, man? I'm not calling them ageist. It's their screen name. It's what they use on the internet. Reball with the cheese rig and the new balls. Yeah. The BGA process is not for the faint of heart. Of fart. I had to bend CPU pins back and it was a really nerve-wracking feeling. You get one bend for that kind of stuff, yeah. Okay, so these... Ah! Stop saying that. Stop saying that word. Cute when you're out of balls. You said it, not me. Need to resort to paste and stencil. That's what we used to do. That's how we did the ball-in process. You remove the thing, clean it all up, and then you have an FR4 thing that goes over the chip, and then you put solder into that, and it makes the balls again. And then you have to put that back. It was not fun. We had technicians to do that. So the way that I solder headers is by using a piece of solderless breadboard. The solderless breadboard is a bunch of little metal clips, and it's 5 clips in one. It's one solid piece of metal. You can get about an amp through these individual connections, but the important part is that it is a tiny little metal clip in a row. So without solder, what I can do is I can plug these into this header, and I guess I want the sloped one to be the output and the pad to be up against the fixed board. I guess that's just, I don't know, that's just a way to do them. I figure these are a little bit kind of like cups, so you want that little tapered section to go into this. These I like because when I'm doing a soldered perforated prototyping board, I can get a wire under it so that I can make a connection on the top side of the board. But I was trying to order them so that these would accept round pins, because I have ones that accept that accept square pins. These are the ones that I was trying to order. They've got larger holes, and they can take things with square pins in them. I was unable to source them, and I bought so many that I have to use these permanently. So in the future, whoever Julian sells this module to will run into the problem of not being able to put their Teensy into a breadboard. Why are these wildly different sizes? Wait a minute. I fucked up. I screwed up. Chad, I screwed up. Oh, wait, no, these are the ones that I should be putting in. I'm so busy trying to explain myself to you. Wait, oh, it was 2 of the longer ones. This is the shorter one. Get out of here. Did you guys see that new Deep Rock Galactic game? I'm on the fence about it. It seems like all the cool mechanics are not in it. It looks a little boring. DigiKey should have them. Listen, in all of my time trying to source those things, I was unable to find what maybe I didn't have the right keywords on it, but yeah, I do want to source the big ones. I think they were prohibitively expensive maybe at the time. So these clips will allow me to keep the header in alignment so that everybody goes in nice and flat to the board, and it'll dissipate heat away from the pin. These are a little less susceptible to that phenomenon, but with the normal square header pins, these guys, this is not the most state-of-the-art thermoplastic. So if you're soldering this in the air and you apply heat for too long, these will get out of alignment. And so there's 2 strategies for that. One of them is to plug it into a female header so that it's 2 things keeping you in alignment, or in my case, plugging it into the perforated prototyping board, solderless breadboard, so that I can solder the individual pins with impunity. And then I'm going to take the big solder down, and we'll use that. I've melted the breadboard before. I think I have too. We're using the big iron tip, and we probably shouldn't be, but I can do this for speed. I want to keep the heat on the pin a little longer than I normally do, just so that it solders down into the via. The via is the little open rivet that this thing is attached with. I do wish we could have done this with, why is Stoffrigan not using USB-C? I guess that one's a little smaller, but man, come on, Paul. I don't actually know Paul. I refer to him as if I know him because it's funny. But Paul Stoffrigan's really a great person. They've helped a lot of people with a lot of projects personally with their forums and stuff. And we run into his messages on his own forums in a lot of our searches, like, how do I make LED on Arduino? And then we get the answer, and it's, oh, that's Paul Stoffrigan again. Hey, cool. Through the years, I've ordered many, many of his parts, and he's living the dream. That guy is synonymous with awesome microcontrollers, platforms and stuff. Man, I'm so glad the raid light worked, and I'm so glad we got a bunch of raids all at once. That was great. For USB 2.0, USB Type B enjoyer. That's what a counter pillow sounds like, by the way. That's exactly what they sound like. Now, everybody should be using USB-C by now. These micros, sometimes people don't solder them properly. Ooh, that looks a little dodgy. That looks a little dodgy. When you solder this properly and the pad has some kind of a via on it, then it holds on perfectly strongly. But in the configuration that it's in right now, soldered in the way that it is, I don't know if Stoffrigan put some vias on there. I hope so. I'm going to be careful when I plug this in the first time, because sometimes you can over torque them, and then it'll rip out all of these pads and all these pads and all these pads, and it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. When I worked for the tracking device people at the FBI, we got in these Qualcomm boards with a USB micro on them, and I had to do the initial programming with some weird ass Qualcomm tools that they have to speak to, like, the, I don't know, Qualcomm overcomplicates everything. But anyway, so I had to plug them into USB, this one, constantly, and they were new. So the plug would fight, and then suddenly the whole thing would fly off, and I'd find myself under the microscope once again, soldering down a USB plug. This is repetitive. But you can see how the solder kind of sinks in once it gets hot enough. Don't put too much on that one. Just hit that with a little more. And I guess if Julian ever wants to do anything with the microcontroller that's not crimes and ornamentation, he can talk to me and I'll see it through. But we'll use my specialized headers on this. I mean, they do plug into the breadboard. They'll just pop out of it very easily. $5 for 40 pins. That's a lot. That's a ton of money. And I have 3 bins that are filled with headers already because I kept looking for the Alibaba ones that accept the square pins, and so you would get this total lack of information, and you're like, well, I guess I'll just order them and see, and then I get 500 of the ones that are too small. So I'm just going to continue to use these and complain about it. USB-C PD power supply that doesn't output 5 volts by default. I've got a couple of those boards. They're fun to have around. For 15 volts, you can power your whole modular synthesizer, your whole Euro rack setup on a USB-C power supply, because it's like 250 watts at 15 volts. So you make your plus minus 12 volts out of that. Pretty cool. I got that set up in multiple places so that I can bring the modular synthesizer tester over here. And it is actually over here for when we finish this thing. My question is, how are we going to... Well, I need to find the software that we're going to put on this thing. We still have a lot of soldering to do. This is the last stream with this device. I could show you it working sometime, but for my purposes of having this project going on stream, I can't keep doing it. I can't keep doing it. This should have been done 5 streams ago. All right, there's our TNC 4.0. So now I need the other side of the headers, and we need to solder this to the other side of the board. What temp do you set your iron to? Mine is at 666 degrees Fahrenheit. Brah! Because I worship the devil. I smoke crack and I worship the devil. Hopefully you guys knew that about me. I want to cut it with this because this has two tapered blades that are opposing one another. If I cut it with the flush cutters, this has one tapered blade, or they're both tapered on the same side, and so it tends to push the cutting surface in to the thing, and it'll cut unevenly. So you'll be able to have you'll have like one exposed pin and one not exposed pin, but I can't get the cutters into there, so I'm going to use something with flat pincers, and I'm just going to crack the plastic. So hopefully this will cut it nice and evenly. Good, that did. A little bit. You can see a little bit of the pin in there. I don't think that got too close. 666 is 352C. I should have, so what I'm trying to do currently in the background of stream is I'm trying to get subtitles working. Apparently we have to have our own subtitle engine, and there's one that runs locally on the machine. If I can get that to send MQTT text in the same way that my Node-RED does, I can have my captions feed into all of my Node-RED triggers. So something like me saying a temperature in Celsius, I could have a little temperature pop up and translate it into Fahrenheit, and vice versa. I could do all that with Node-RED. So I kind of want to get that all functioning in Node-RED. And then if I do stuff like, if I say Willow, a little picture of Willow will pop up. I don't know what the delay on that's going to be though. There might be a little bit of a production delay on that one. All right, so flip this over. Well, actually, the thing is, like when I plug in the microcontroller, I'm just going to have to hold it in by hand. You're just going to have to hold it in, chat. Where did our 100K resistor go? Put some of this stuff away. It could be on the bottom of one of the oven feet, and I have to go get another 100 ohm resistor, 100 kilo ohm resistor. I see there's a couple resistors over here, but I don't think they're 100s. One of them looks like it already has solder on it. Yeah, 2.2K. Oh, no, that's the one I just looked at. Put that back. That's 120 volts. That's not, or that's the wrong units. I think it got brushed away. I kind of put it on the desk, and then we kind of did like 5 other things first because it got completely ADHD'd out of existence. Yeah, okay, ADHD has that resistor. Let's get a 100K. I know they're nearby. All of my C suppliers remain dead without negotiation. Huh. Those little boards that actually do the calculations are pretty cheap. I want it in Kelvin. Well, maybe I can have like, I can minimize the text on the pop-up, and I can have all of the conversions, put it into like some of those weird units. But that little comedy flair for something like that can be done later. First, I need to figure out if I can get subtitle generation on this machine and have it not be terrible and slow, and then see if I can pipe that over to Node-RED somehow. When you guys send a message, it's a nice coherent message, but when I'm talking here, I don't know if I need to rely on pauses or if I just completely swamp the MQTT network with my beautiful voice, with my diction. It's probably stuck to the underside of the solder reel. That's what always happens. What? Why didn't it? Oh, because I was leaning on this. Oh, geez. See, when you get the taller components in there, they interfere with your iron placement. That's why you go short to tall when you solder in components. Well, we're getting a lot done. We're getting a lot done. This is stuff that was eating at me yesterday. I wanted to get it done, but we didn't have all of the components that we needed. So Mauser came in, swooped in, dropped off a bag of components, and now we're ready to go. Hopefully that little bit of hot plate treatment makes it so that we don't have a lot of missed connections. It's with the smaller stuff, the TSSO P size and the tiny resistors that I ran into a lot of missed solder connections, and I had to do circuit level troubleshooting in order to figure out where everything went wrong, because I had some signals that just weren't coming in properly. I ADHD'd on the 100K. I put it on the desk and then I got the hot plate out and did the rest of the soldering. So we just had one component that still needed to go in. Now we have all of the through hole stuff needs to go in. So we'll do the through hole stuff on this side. So that's the power and this thing. Then we'll flip and we'll do the screen, and we can do all of these remaining connectors. And those you actually do by putting it into the front panel first, because there's a little wiggle room on them and you want to make sure that everybody's in the right position. So, all right, let's get this done. So this guy in like this, and we'll have to take this out to do the 2 buttons, but that's fine. So I'm just going to do, let's get the big solder. And then I think after that I can put this, like once we get the anchor pins on this, I can put it in the holder so that we can take a look at it while I solder all the stuff. Oh, I should have brought out the night vision stuff that I have for Uwo, because he was working on making an infrared illuminator night vision, and it was the usual kind of jank that I know and love. But I have non-janky night vision stuff. Some of it is owned by a friend of mine, but I'm sort of steward of it. All right, so that's pressed down. This one's pressed down. Good. And then we can try to get that in here. Has to be on the edge. Is that interfering? No, it shouldn't be. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's fine. Oh, geez, then it snaps into place. Yeah, it should be good enough for soldering. It'll just hold it straight. Those little cameras are fun, the little backup cameras that are like $1. I was going to put one on my drone that I never got to fly. You can do all kinds of stuff with the lenses, but every single CMOS camera has an infrared filter on it, something to block infrared frequencies, because the infrared frequencies come in as a bluish, like a cayenne hue. They look a little cayenne. The really dim ones look purple, but that's because it's already got that filter in there. What that does is that messes with the histogram of colors that are coming off of the sensor, and so the sensor then compensates for it, and your colors are all weird. And that's happened with the Logitech C920 camera that I use for the microscope, because I didn't put an infrared filter on it at first. So I had to buy an infrared filter and then ultraviolet glue it into the lens assembly. So part of the secret sauce of this channel is that I've got some filters on here that make things look particularly nice. The webcams that I use don't have anything additional on them. It's just for the microscope cam. I had to do a little bit of adjustment in order to get it to be a nice looking camera. So even your front facing camera, because people go, but bother, the front facing camera doesn't have one. That's the one you're supposed to use if you're testing out a TV remote. No, it still has one. It still has one. It is just a much smaller image sensor, and so it's got a worse one on it that doesn't do as much filtering, but it still filters because they all have them, all of them, no exceptions, unless you've intentionally taken it off. And when my brother was sent a bunch of Amazon products against his will, because apparently they do that, they'll send cheap products to random people so that they can write a review under a fake account. So Joe American sent my brother a bunch of creepy pervert spy cams, and the creepy pervert spy cams have an assembly that removes the infrared filter so that they can be fully sensitive to infrared LEDs. Your TV remote is a flashlight. It is a goddamn flashlight. Don't mishear me on that one. I'm not responsible for you guys sodomizing your remotes, but it is a flashlight. It'll light up the whole room. But when you go to test the TV remote, you point it at your cell phone camera and you see the little blinky blinky as a very dim purple, but a very dim purple would be totally useless if you're trying to turn on and off your TV from across the room. So It's just a matter of perspective. The night vision equipment that I have will pick up that infrared, and it does not have a filter on it of any kind because it's monochrome green. And so if you get an infrared illuminator on that, you can have just like a little exposed, the older ones, the Gen 3, the third generation night vision, that's a little bit obsolete now. They literally had just an exposed chip infrared diode that could illuminate things. And it was enough. You could see a lot. Ah, Jesus. My diabetes notwithstanding, what's happening is I'll do this and try to grip something, and these muscles will start locking up. And so my finger won't unfold. The adjustment, googly eyes. That's true. You guys are talking about something I don't know. I haven't been following the conversation, sorry. I think we released for $40, had a current limit, soft start. Oh, you guys got a bunch of stuff I'm talking about. There's one streamer that has cams and other stuff on voice command. He showed how to work and it was kind of cool. That sounds kind of cool, 3D lasers. Yeah, I would like to have a bunch of analog cameras to supplement this stuff and have like terrible glitchy video out of them. I think that's kind of a cool look. And there are some streamers that do that with filters. They do that with, you know, OBS filters and stuff. All right, so now we need to do the buttons and the Thonky Kongs, etc. Actually, we should do the power supply first. Power supply first. Let's get the dual row header. Do I even have dual row header to put on there? I don't know. I could do 2 rows of single row header, but I might have... Oh, this is like surface mount. That's weird stuff. I don't know if I got it. Why is dual row header so rare? We just don't use it for anything. It's always for modular synthesizers. And I don't think I have it in through-hole flavor. Oh, yes I do. Oh, this one's all jacked up. This is actually from the M Audio thing. Never mind, I'm not going to use that. Yeah, that one's too jacked up. I would want to find it new, and it doesn't look like... So I'm just going to use 1 row header, and I'm going to use 1 row header, but I'm going to plug it into a female header to keep it from melting. So whatever this stuff will do. And then I need 5 and 5. I can usually see the infrared LEDs on my remotes with the naked eye. Some of them, or I can't even on cell phone cam, they're kind of dim. Yeah, I don't know, if you're sensitive enough to the near infrared spectrum, you can make out a little red glow from it. Is that really 5 or is it... 5 just looked a little short. Yeah, it's 5 will do. 5 and 5. 2 in the pipe, 5 by 5. When you hear like a military radio operator say 5 by 5, it means 5 for clarity and 5 for volume. Or it's like clear and understandable are the two. I don't know which one comes first, but it's 5 by 5 means I can hear you and you sound good, clear. I forget what the order is though. All right, so single row headers, but I'm plugging them into a dual header so that they're close enough to each other that they make an appropriate power plug. I think these are perfectly fine to sit right next to each other. Yeah, those are straight up and down. They're not like weird. Okay, so that goes into the power header, and because this thing has a full bridge rectifier, that means that you can plug this plug in either way. It's positive 12, negative 12, and then ground in the middle. So when you invert it, you're just putting positive and negative into opposite ends. So with a full bridge rectifier, it's blocking diodes and transmitting diodes are in the right spots. So 1 anchor pin, get solder on that initially. This is all jacked up. It's all in the wrong direction. Put a little pressure on it and then heat up that pin so that the solder becomes molten again, and you can position your headers so that they are perfectly aligned. Perfectly aligned. Oh, good, looks good. All right, let's get those in. The infrared lights on my surveillance cams are a very visible orangish pink. They light up a room, but outdoors they're crap. Ah, weird. Shaky, shaky. There we go. Like a machine built it. All this skill I have in building stuff didn't really ever help me with being an electrical engineer. They don't really expect you to be able to do this stuff anymore. This is more hobby stuff, being able to build stuff like this. It has saved me thousands and thousands of dollars in modular synthesizer equipment for sure. Although I haven't really done anything with my modular synthesizer yet. I'm hoping I can fix up the 505 and that can be many parts of music, and then the modular synthesizer can work in conjunction with that. I think that'll be pretty cool. Also, I just want to repair a 505. I just want to do it for me. All right, so there's our power header. It's all part picking in CAD, no prototyping. Yeah, you get the other boffins to build the thing. For me, it was all circuit analysis, at least in the one job. The other one, I didn't do this stuff. That's a little misaligned. I'm going to leave it where it is, though. I'm not going to try to move it. It's aligned on one side, but the other side's a little crooked. Not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. It bothers me immensely. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, so let's do all of this stuff. We got to do all this stuff, all this shit. We got to get all this in. So I need 2 encoders. These are AB encoders. So it's basically just 2 little wires that click over. They make a square wave. And if A and B, the square wave of one and the other, overlap one way or the other, that gives you the direction that you're moving the encoder in. Fairly simple. There's a lot of libraries to do that on Arduino. These should click into place. I'm not going to solder anything yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place everything down and then put the front panel on, and then the front panel will hold everything in place. So really I could almost install these into the front panel first, but some of these pins are kind of misaligned. So those will stay put. The Thonky Kongs are going to be the thing that moves. So we need 2 washers, as to not mar up Julian's beautiful front panel. And now we need, oh, are we going to have to cut the, yeah, we're going to have to cut the tabs off of these. That tab will keep us from, well, let's see where the front panel sits first. Now we need Thonky Kong connectors, and doing modular synthesizer stuff means that you need to do quite a bit with modular connectors. Luckily, thonk.co.uk sells them by the bushel. These do have a Chinese part number that you can look up, and there's actually a Thingiverse thing, footprint for that you can load up into CAD. Okay, so, ooh. Oh, we've got buttons in here too, which I think are the right height buttons. NBN. Any DM? No. I don't have washers in here. Aw. Do we usually put washers under thonks? Not all the time. They're just nice so that you don't scratch anything up. And then I've got my... Whoa! Oh, those pipes are getting in the way. Hold on. Gotta move the pipes. Move the pipes. All right. Looking for my specific Thonky Kong wrench. Thonky Kong. Thonky Kong. Where did you go, Thonky Kong? It's very specific. It should not have gone anywhere, but it's not in my drawer. Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh no, it's probably over by the synthesizers. All right, we can do these by hand then. I have a specific socket that has just the right size for these things, and it's also got a flat front, so it's able to actually get into it. Why did I only get 2? What was I doing? What was I doing? I need 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, nope, 11, 12. There. Cool. Part picking in PCB CAD, no prototyping. That's why so as a streamer, there's like this introvert poison when you go to get like a haircut and they go, so what do you do? And like, I don't know, if I was as successful as Uo, I would say, I am a streamer and I make lots of money, but I'm not that. I don't make money. So I sit there and I go, you know, it's like a lot of meetings. By the way, there are different, if you're designing something for modular synthesizers in CAD, there are a couple different models, and the models that Emily Gillette has on her GitHub, if you find like a reposting of the GitHub that got deleted. So there's another content creator getting completely swarmed by the community and just hating it and not doing it anymore, which is very sad to see. And there's examples of that happening this week for a cartoon. But anyway, the point is, she has a bunch of different models that go a different distance for this extra pin, because this pin can move forward and backwards. So if you're really trying to like squish in your connectors, you can find a part model that moves it in to like the illegal space. It's kind of neat. We just got to be careful about which one you choose. Yeah, it's doing the counting with oh bother. 1, I lost count. But this is why I can't put them into the front panel first, is because all of them need me to bend the little extra ground pin. By the way, a thing about Donkey Kong connectors, save yourself some time. Do not buy the ones that look like they're the right one, but are the knockoffs. And you can tell by that shoulder right there. You see how the round threaded tube goes into a square, and it's not riveted. Sorry, well, it is riveted to the other end, but what happens when you tighten a bolt down on this is that all that force goes into the shoulder of that square piece. So the shoulder of that square piece is what's putting the pressure on the front panel, not the weak rivet in the back that connects the ground pin. In the knockoffs, they have plastic instead of the square piece. Easier to machine, I suppose. And so when you tighten it down, it'll tighten down against that rivet that holds this ground pin in, and it'll extrude the rivet out very easily. You won't really be putting any torque into it. These can take a little bit of torque. The other ones can't take any torque. They're basically supposed to be hand tightened, which means that they'll come off pretty easily. You can thank me for that knowledge, because I've wasted my money on the wrong connector before. Learn from my expensive mistakes. I love fine motor work. My hand doesn't hurt at all. I do actually really enjoy building, though. The act of building stuff like this is wonderful. Illegal space. We're already doing crimes. Might as well. Problem is, when I attach the front panel, this whole thing could pull apart until I get some solder in. So we got to be kind of careful with it. Not drop it. We've had some fairly dangerous operations today. That hot plate scares the shit out of me. If I sneeze, it'll start sizzling. It's ridiculous. I do like that it got up to temperature pretty quickly, though. We've already done so many crimes. We'll do the screen after we do this. This is like one big through-hole operation. Oh, what direction do these have to go in? These you can kind of work into the wrong direction. The pins come out of the two ends of them. These are what are called tactile switches, and they're basically a metal dome with a bunch of stuff around it, right? Metal dome with a bunch of stuff around it. You can see the pins come out of the sides of them, but they're almost at the square you know, they're almost reversible. They can go in either direction. In this case, I want the two ends to be this way, because there's a certain pattern for what the pins do. And if you get it wrong, it'll be permanently connected instead of switching. Julian is going to complain that the buttons on this thing are not far enough above. Mine are perfectly usable, but I gave them a lot of space. I don't know how much space this thing is going to give them. Which side do you think you'd want? Oh, this is a... Oh, this is upside down. Oh, weird. I guess if you wanted it to be this way in your synthesizer, you'd use this panel. But then you'd flip it if you want it to be this way. Why? Why? Why would you do that? Okay, everything is in alignment. Buttons are looking good. Those are going to have to get a bolt below and above, but they don't interfere. It's just I need to have something behind them, so that'll be fine. So I guess I'm going to get a couple of these in, and then we'll solder it from the other side. Once I solder those two, then the board will be locked in position and we'll be all aligned and everything. The good button switches don't short in the wrong orientation, only when you press the button. Well, you can, if you install them wrong, then they're going to be shorted out permanently because the contacts that are supposed to do this stuff aren't. You have to get a different model switch for that to... Okay, the knobs are sticking way out. I think for this I'm going to use the vise that is missing. There it is. Yeah, I can just put that like that, and then we'll solder some of these in, and they'll be locked in position. I'm not sure if the knobs that I have, I'm not sure if they're going to be... if I'm going to be able to get the washer on them. It's a thin washer, and I would like to have it on there, but I might have to not use it. This is where we get all the flux. That's why the other board was so discolored. Didn't have to get out the solder pot or the solder wavetable. Let's get these fastened. I'm debating about whether or not I want to kind of like unplug these a little bit so that they're further up, because they're not quite the right model. They'll work. I mean, they do AB encoding just fine, and we'll mechanically be able to get them in. It's just they're not, I think, what the original intent was supposed to be, the original equipment. Back to Lurkin. Thanks for joining us, Legoland. You guys don't even need to say goodbye. I fully understand. I am the streamer. I've been around the block. I know that people just like to quietly duck out, and they're under no obligation to stick around. Is that crooked or unplugged? What's going on there? No, it's totally straight in. Ooh, wait a minute. No, this one is partially unplugged. Huh, when did that happen? Well, I guess I could just get it back in like this. I mean, I guess it would work out if it was so far out. What is happening with this one? Strange. Yeah, the whole thing backed out. I can kind of walk it in a little bit. Yeah, I walked it in. I walked it in. It's still a little crooked though. I need to push up the top. Pump up the vibe, yo. Problem is these pins are connected to the top, so they heat up the whole thing. This one needs to go a little bit to the left. There we go. Okay, now we're straight up and down with those two, right? More or less. Pushy in, twisty. Yeah, see, like, there's only a tiny bit of threaded material at the top here. I know plenty of streamers who have a rule of not saying goodbye when you leave. Really? I've never heard of that. I don't know. Yeah, streamers are weird, man. Like, don't trust them. Don't give them your credit card details. Yeah, streamers are weird. I know some that are from YouTube that don't like when you use other people's emotes in their chat, which is just weird behavior. They were like, I don't like it when I see other streamers' emotes because everything's supposed to look a certain way. I've designed it to look a certain way. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, get off Twitch then. Like, that's not what Twitch is. I love seeing a variety of weird emotes. Everybody has sort of cursed and an interesting take on their emotes, and it's wonderful to see. And in fact, all of you out there right now, since you have a Twitch name, you have an emote or two, I think. So if you want to do a little pixel art and give yourself some fricked up emote, some weird little goober that you can leave in chat, I would definitely make one. They don't want to know if you leave or divert the attention. I don't mind people saying goodbye. I just want them to know that they don't have to. That's a very important distinction. Also, I don't have enough people in chat to be a weirdo like that. It's just not, it's not in the cards. It's not in the cards. All right, let's get the rest of the thonks soldered in. I probably should have jiggled these into position a little better at first, but this will do. I mean, these buttons push, the knobby's knob. Let's get the rest of this stuff soldered and we can do it on camera. I'm like Gamera to amateurs. Let me tell you about the protoculture. Bother, nobody knows old Del the Funky Homo Sapien songs. Stop singing protoculture at every single gap in talking. If you don't know the culture, here's the whole structure. We've had enough of the lacklust. Trust us. Yeah! We get the kind of games you can't rent at Blockbuster. Okay, let's solder some of these things. Don't have the screen yet. We're going to have to pick out of the pile of screens and figure out what color screen we chose. And I guess that'll be a job for a working circuit. Feet emote. I would, you know what? You can't shock me anymore. You're talking to the guy who has a board that burns the names of subscribers onto itself, plus burns guest subs. I know about the seedy underbelly of Twitch. I've seen it, I've petted it, and its legs started twitching. This one didn't, like, fix itself. That really bugs me. Let me tell you about the protoculture. If you don't know the culture, here's the whole structure. We had enough of the lackluster. Trust us. We get the kind of games you can't rent at Blockbuster. Rival schools. I remember getting Xenogears. That's the kind of game that relieves my fears. Get it from overseas to here. Man, I'm all doomed out. I got the novel. I like the old Dell stuff. There's some really fun tracks. I remember Santa's beard. I was there. Now, if you said that to me before the pandemic, actually before the pandemic, if you said that sentence to me, I would think that you were referencing the They Might Be Giants song about Santa. But I know what you're talking about. It's a gross Twitch screen name. About doing a thing in Santa's beard that somehow defies censorship on a scale that is unprecedented. I figured mine might get auto-modded. It might this day and age. Twitch used to be a little bit more edgy. I remember Adam Johnston's stream, YMS Plays. They used to link furry porn in the chat, which was not illegal, but the advertisers swooped in, and now everything is sterilized. Well, okay, so there's the ones that try to make you say something that's you know, toss. But then there's ones that are just like jokes and stuff, and just some very, very clever usage of language. And that's sort of what the board technically allowed. That's what it was all about. Secretly, you know, because I'll sit here and I'll say, no, you can't do that. Oh, no, look at this screen name as it burns onto the board. But that's the whole comedy of the board. Like that is engineered into the thing, is that people will go out and find some truly, truly intensely weird stuff. Oh, you know, that pin was probably why it was pulling out. I should have been better with that. I'll check the pin in just a sec. Yeah, they were just straight up linking it. I mean, it's not like anything illegal. It was like fine, you know, it's because technically you're supposed to be a certain age on Twitch, so whatever, but I guess it can be frowned upon pretty heavily. But yeah, they were just linking it. You know, nowadays that's anathema, but this is like the early days of Twitch. Twitch in the early days is it hit a little differently. What are these two? Oh, those are the back pins of the encoders. Let's check this one first. I don't want the encoders soldered at all before I get them all in position. I probably shouldn't have done the wings either, so these could sit flat, but that one's sitting pretty good. That pin that pin is a miss. Okay, I gotta get to that one. Well, most everything else is soldered, so this is a little easier. Yeah, the inconsistency of the content warning, a lot of it is up to whatever like admin happens to be watching the stream. It's not like they watch every stream, but they will like sneak in to the big streamers, and so you get some fairly sensitive people listening to some fairly edgy streamers, and that causes a lot of friction when they do dole out punishment, because it'll be wildly inconsistent because it's just not the same people at both ends. All right, I've got to get the solder out of this thing in order to get it out. I shouldn't have soldered these side pieces because one of the pins decided to bend in a weird way. See that one right there? I should have seen the signs of that. I missed it. That's on me. All right, I guess I'll use the vise. And then we'll use probably the solder sucker just to get the shmoo away from all of the edges there. It's that one. That's the pin. It looks like there's a pin in there, but there's not. Yeah, and they don't talk to each other. It makes for very inconsistent policy. But Adam's philosophy towards it, I liked quite a bit. It was just that, you know, the internet doesn't have completely ill intentions, and it'll work out a lot of its own problems. So he just had sort of a free-for-all in the chat. There were, you know, if somebody gets into an argument, they would generally try to sort it out, but now you got to do a lot of moderation and stuff. It's just how it is, especially with Twitch running ads, because Twitch didn't used to run ads. That's what I loved about the platform. They took that away because everybody wants money. Money. Get down. Motherfucking money on my mind. I got to leave that heat on for quite a bit. You can see it kind of getting in there. There we go. Money, 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 money. Motherfucker. Money on my motherfucking mind. I love that song. The title of the song is difficult to remember, but it's Aesop Rock and another guy, and they're rapping about money, and that probably will give you enough information to find the song somewhere. All right, bent pin. These I bought off of Amazon generically, and I probably should have done a little bit more research, but they were good for all the dimensions that supposedly they required, but it seems like the seat of the threaded part is a little bit low. We can still use it. We can still make them work. Just like that. That's actually pretty flat if I want to just do it like that. I'll slide this thing over just to make sure. Yeah, that's good. There's a little bit of wiggle room in the front panel. And I should actually buy a bunch of front panels, to be honest. Oh, all the time. I've burned myself on and off camera constantly with the iron. The iron's hot. News at 12. There's no getting around it. You're gonna get burns if you're doing a lot of physical soldering tasks. Learning to not react to the pain is a totally different story, and just, you know, trying not to get into situations where you burn yourself. That's a whole other strategy. They're not, no, they're not bots. These are AB encoders. They're the right things. They do the right thing. Do not be fooled. Yeah, burns are just part of the process, unfortunately. You're not going to burn yourself when you get enough experience, but starting out, you're going to get burns. My nephew burnt himself while doing this, and I was like, don't tell my brother, he's going to kill me. But he took that way too literally, and I had to sit him down and go, listen, if an adult ever tells you not to tell anybody something, tell an adult that right away. Like, don't keep secrets for adults, okay? Oh boy, I didn't think he'd take me so literally. But he's a little boy, so that's what little kids do. They're like, my cool uncle told me not to tell him something. I'm like, no. Wait. Whoa. Bad lesson. Not the good lesson. We want the good lesson. Yeah. You see, try not to burn yourself. It's just one technique that I use. Sometimes I forget the technique and I burn myself. Really, the places you're going to burn yourself while doing this stuff is when you first get your iron into view. Getting the iron into view and being able to be comfortable in your seat and have the iron float around to the places you need to solder stuff is something that you want to make sure that you set up correctly, because it pays dividends in not poking your finger with a soldering iron. Yeah. That's why having the webcam with the latency that it has, the low latency that it has, is good. Like, the frames go into OBS, and I see them on OBS quite clearly on this monitor that's sitting in front of me, so that I can properly move my hand out of the way before the soldering iron decides to eviscerate me. I did not even check to see that all 3 pins went through. I see them here, so I guess they're good. This is such a no-brainer to plug that thing in that I didn't think about why I was doing what I was doing. So this has been a little bit of just basic circuit assembly. We're just building up a module, and we've already built one of these before, but I figure I could do a couple streams where we kind of concentrate on it, and we have just a little bit of a different flow to things. We're not programming, we're not designing circuits, we are just putting our hands to the board and building an actual physical module. And Julian will be happier to have one of these things in his repertoire. He's getting a new case for everything, so he'll be able to come over and do a little bit of noodling around with one. I probably should have sent him home with mine, because then he could learn it. That's sort of the problem we ran into before, was we build like a brand new module and then none of us know what to do with it. We're like, what is this? How does this work? Why is this functioning? I have a couple different screens in here. The ones that I got to be careful of are the ones that are two color. I used a two color one on the module tester to great success, but using one on this thing does not anticipate that you will have a dual color screen. So I actually do not know. The dual color screen just means that at a certain point, the color changes. It's a monochrome screen still, so you have to design your UI around that change. I don't know. I don't know which ones. There's the ones that I have like a little pixel break a couple lines down, and that's kind of what I'm looking for, but I don't know if I'll be able to see it. Oh, you know what? One of them's I2C and one of them isn't, so. That one's I2C. Oh, there you go. You see it? That black line just right there. Yeah, horizontally across. So this one does not have the line, and it's got all these pins. This is not using an I2C screen. It's using this kind with the big old pin thing. So now we need to find a header for this thing. It has the line. I saw it. This one? This one shouldn't. Yeah, I see the line too. It's too high up though. Yeah, I do think I see a line on that one. We'll have a problem if we see the line on every screen that I own. We might just be hallucinating. Well, this one's I2C, so I can't use that. I have two of these that have all these headers on them. We're just gonna have to use it. I think I see it, but it looks too high up. We don't really have a choice though. These are the only two screens that I have that use the right protocol. Let's hope that it's not dual color. If it is, it's just going to be ugly until Julian can buy a new screen, because this is on a header, so we'll just be able to use a header on it and it'll all work out in the end. Ah, wish I didn't ruin that. That would have been a good header to use. Only got 3 pins on that work and it's broken. This is the kind that takes the big pins, but I don't know if I want to use it. What did I use over here? Why is that like off? Why is it? It's like taller over here. I guess I use standoffs on it. And I put 2 screws at the bottom, which this doesn't have. It's just going to get the 2 at the top. So let's see what the fit's like. I got to use one of my super special headers on this, huh? The ones that I save. Okay, and then this goes in here. Oh, I gotta cut these flush up here. Flash cutters, they're there. You buy it because you're thinking it's 2 colors, and then I come and tell you that it's a dual color, only top and bottom, and you didn't believe me. Did I not believe you, or is that actually what happened? Because that sounds plausible. No, what I did is I designed it specifically. I had to design the UI specifically so that there were, you know, there's separation along that line. It's pretty cool to have a 2-color one. We may need to order a new batch of 1306 screens on AliExpress. Maybe. I'll make Julian buy it. I don't think I bought that many dual color screens. I have some left over from old projects. So I don't know if I've got precisely that issue. Oh, son of a bitch. Guess what? It's not even the right screen. It's not, wait a minute. It's not even the right, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? Wait. Wait. No. I thought these were standard size. Well, all the ones I have are that size. What are they calling for over here? Hold on a sec. Wait. No. This one. Nope. This one. Nope. This one. Nope. This one. Nope. This one? Nope. This one. Nope. This one. There you go. Yoink. Thonks. Tactile switch. PEC 11. DAC. Regulator. 10-pin power header. What's that? Access denied. Cool. Where's the screen? Seven pin 128 by 64. Oh, there it is, yeah. eBay, Amazon, Alibaba, etc. Great. So, is there a different size? Because that's what it looks like there is. This screen hole is huge. My screen hole's compatible. Wait a minute. Did I only buy one of these? One would think that I would have a spare somewhere. So that is a bespoke size. It is actually a slightly larger screen. There's no sense that I would buy only one. That seems like a silly thing to do. So somewhere in the world, there may be another screen that's the right size for this thing. I told Julian I have several different colors of screen, but it turns out they're all slightly smaller. Those, I forget what value resistor those are. Here we are again, chat. My screen woes. Yeah, I can measure it, but let's just see if I've got a spare screen sitting somewhere. Highlighting the message. 0.96 inch and 1.3 are the common sizes for that number of pixels. I see. Yeah, because these typically you order them and they come in pairs. So there's a chance that's tossed somewhere up here in sort of the derelict circuit playground. There is a screen sitting up here that has the dimensions that we need. That, or it's in some kind of a bin, although I don't know what bin that would have made it to. So I'm just kind of perusing. I didn't really see any loose screens up here. I kind of tried to collect them all in that bin, but yeah, I need the 1.3. Yeah, it looks like that's the case. Oh, let's see. I've been through all this stuff, and I don't think I saw any screens kicking around. All the problems that I'm having with this module stem from my refusal to order parts and my inability to organize properly after a build. I don't know what I did with all of those screens. Actually, you know what? Where the other one is? Right there. Actually, no, that's a split. No, that's a split color one. That's a different screen. That's for this module. That's a different screen. I would never buy just one. I would never buy just one. I'm not that kind of guy. We're better than that. We buy two. But where would I have stored it in between builds? There are many places where things go around here. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, that's going to be a little soul searching, isn't it? Because, I don't know, there must be a stash of Mauser parts somewhere from the first time I built that thing. And I just ordered a bunch of parts and they were all the wrong stuff. So it looks like we are back to the waiting room on this one. The next time I stream it, I will have the correct screen. We'll put software in it and we'll finish building it. Frick. Oh man. What the heck? What the heck, Bother? What's your problem? If I had just put the parts in like a logical place for me to find later, I would have not had any of these issues. If it weren't for my horse, I wouldn't have spent that year in college. Nope. Yeah, no screens. Darn. Oh, it's the SSD 1306 or the SH11. The coolest screen that I have was from a glucometer, and it is fully compatible with the rest of these. The SSD 1306, it's just clear, and the OLEDs light up on it, so you can put whatever you want behind it, and it'll light up nice and pretty. Yeah, I've got a lot of these little screens, and I plan on getting some of them into modules, digital modules. The ones that I really want to do are a circular oscilloscope screen. And these are, I believe, 1306s. 128 by 128. You got to go into this pinout, though. That's the hard thing, is you got to solder to that. Or get an adapter board. I cannot fathom that I don't have the right size, but I don't have the right size. I've got the smaller screens. So I've got to get a screen. So this one is 7-pin OLED, but it doesn't specify the size. Let's just quickly find some. These grow on trees. And what was the 128 by 64 OLED? ED. I can spell. So we want the 6-pin, and we want it to be the larger one. 2.4 inch. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Can I just specify 6-pin or what? Yeah, it's bringing all the I2C ones up to the front. There are the 6 pins, but those are 0.96. The ones I already have, 1.3. These are the right size. $20, but I get like 12. And I said 6-pin, but now it's showing me the 4s. And you see here, top line is a different color from everything else. Not useful. It's still monochrome. Yeah, it's like a phone screen. Yeah, they're expensive on Amazon. Sometimes you get good delivery, sometimes you don't. 1.5 inch. That's way out of the. That's out of line. No, you're out of line. $17 for like 5 of them, though. They also don't have any of the variety of color unless you specify that in the order. So white or slightly blue. These aren't even the right thing. What the? Wait. Wait. Yeah, they're all the 4-pin one. What the heck? Well, those won't work. Put 1.3 in there. I thought I saw more pins. $8.99 for one, but it does get here tomorrow. Those look similar to the ones that I have. I swear, there's got to be one sitting around here somewhere. I don't know where it would have gotten to, and that's part of the problem right now, is that I don't even know where I'd search for it. It looks like that $8 one is the only one that really does what I want. Oh my God. This is terrible. Looks like the only one. Oof. You are a pricey little bugger. 1.3 inch SPI. 128 by 64. That's all the criteria. Well, bottoms up, kids. If I'm going to actually get one, yeah, 5-pack for 12 bucks is okay. $8 for one screen sucks, but I'm over a barrel on this one and I need to get this, so I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. We can't look back. I don't even know what color it was. Wait a minute. I'm going to hit the back button before I actually see what color it actually is. I think it's white. Yeah, it's just white. Okay. All right. Well, bottoms up, everybody. I find it unfathomable that I only have one of those. But whatever location that part stump is in, I don't know. And I have looked far and wide for those parts, and I came up with nothing. I tried to organize all my screens in one place. Wait, there's other, hold on a minute. There's other screens. Let's just see if I can. We'll see if I can just dig it out really quick. It would be in these bins down here. And I can just quickly go through some of the more common ones. This is what I mean when I say I have a bunch of headers stashed away. And then I also have a bunch of headers stashed away. I have more headers than I will ever use in a lifetime. That's why I emphasize using those ones. Okay, so here's a bunch of screens as well, but they are not the right kind. These are all character displays, so nothing in that one. But we keep moving, keep looking. Joystick parts, galvo motors, which I can use with lasers if we really want that RAID indicator to be something powerful. Let's see, I'm so glad Code Rushed and Gonad rated today is so awesome to use the RAID light for its real purpose. Super happy about that. Now, no screens back here. All right, keep looking. I got one more thing to do. Basically, these are like sewing kits, and they fit into these bigger portable things. So the translucent nature of these make them really good for searching for parts like I am right now. I'll read that message in just a sec. Currently sifting through parts. Cannot get your message. Keyboard parts. What are those doing there? Yeah, I don't think any of this stuff has it. That one's empty. Put stuff in there. I could put my screens in there. That's a 3D printer part. There has to be some bin that I'm like missing that I haven't looked at, because I should have all this stuff somewhere. All this stuff that went into the modular synthesizers. I don't see it. I don't see it, unfortunately. If I don't see it, it doesn't exist. 7-pin SPI OLED have been made with 2 different pinouts, with VCC and ground reversed. Oh no. All right, hold on. Make sure we got the right thing, because it's the only thing that's showing up on Amazon. So ground is all the way to the left when you're looking at the screen. And that supposedly is VCC going down there. Huh. Okay, ground all the way to the left. You know, there's got to be one of these things stashed away somewhere. I don't think I spent $8 on this. It doesn't say previously purchased. Ground is on the left. This is the right one. I'm going to look through my order history and see what I ordered for the other one. Maybe I got it off of DigiKey or something. OLED. Screens, screens, screens. Highlight Go 0.96 inch. So that's actually not the right one, but it looks like the right one. Oh no, that's the split one. Okay, hold on. I'm getting to the bottom of this chat. 5-piece 0.96 inch. Yeah, okay. 1.3 inch module. 7-pin. and it was just one, and it's currently unavailable. But this is the same thing that we were purchasing on that $8, this one over here, this abomination that I'm about to order. I can't believe I'm spending $8.99 on this, but that's the price of like a whole soda these days, so whatever. I'm just buying another soda. And it gets here tomorrow. Amazon knew that I would be over the barrel on this one. They said he's going to have no choice. Unstock as much as you can. Only show them the $8 one. Yeah, I don't want 4. I don't want 4. I've got enough screens. $20 for 4. Yeah, I'd rather just spend 8. This is fine. It sucks, but it's fine. Appreciated. Yeah, and I don't want the drop shippers because that'll take a week and a half for them to get here. It's faster than it should be, but it takes too long. All right, well, project has been shot in the leg. You know, I can kind of try to see if it's the right distance, but I'm going to have to take out my own hardware and try to put this together for Jules when all the stuff gets here. I don't understand why they do this. I guess the FR4 doesn't flex that much, but they only give you one screw hole for a module of this size. So if I'm unplugging over here, I'm trying to twist the whole module. I don't like that. I put 4 screw holes on mine. And it holds. All right, well, that was the final crime stream. What's going to happen is I am going to find whatever website you find in order to get the dual operating system onto this. And I am simply going to follow their instructions for programming. They probably have some cursed nightmare way to load their program on. It's not just going to be easy peasy Arduino. Then again, I can load with the Paul Stoffrigan's Teensy tools. I think I can specify a hex file and it'll throw it on over to this thing. So we'll get that programmed with the dual software that the Teensy 4.1 can handle. This is all the stuff that I'm going to do on my own. I'm going to attach the screen to this side of the panel and then plug it in with the female header already attached to it and get this to the right distance, because this top piece is kind of vital in holding everybody together, and figure out what the standoff is on that, and then solder in the pins so that it's the right height. And at that point, this will be a functioning module that just needs to be tuned. And I will leave the tuning to Julian. He can figure that out on his own damn self. There's just a little bit of hardware that I'm going to need to finish this thing, and then it's pretty straightforward. It's five points of soldering, load in a hex file, we're done. So we're like 99% of the way through. We just ran into another parts issue. I do it from the website using the Chrome serial support. I don't want to have to do that. I would rather, because it's a Teensy, I have the tools to load up the Teensy. I'd rather not use Chrome for anything. I'm so done. I held out for a long time with Chrome. Did it go bang yet? No. You went to the shops. Oh, now you're all stocked up. I'm jealous. I have like 30 of these little screens, and they're great. I love these screens. I used one of them in my synthesizer tester. These are all dual color, which means that the screen splits at the top and the top is yellow and the bottom's white. They're really cool though. I want to do more projects that need a screen, and especially the round screens. These things are awesome. They're so easy to program in the Arduino. So at some point I do want to do stuff with them, but all of these are the wrong size. None of these are the correct size. So I had to order an $8 screen to go into this thing. I already spent like 40 bucks on all the parts that I'm giving Julian, and now he gets $8 more of stuff. Eyes for your fridge? That would be pretty funny, actually. I don't know if the local stuff could run that, but maybe I could make just a little Arduino thing to make eyes. I mean, these are good. Yeah, these are good if you do images of eyeballs on them. You can put them into costumes. They're pretty snazzy like that. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get that screen tomorrow, and probably off camera, I'm going to put one of the nuts behind this, one of the larger things, behind it, and then try to get, I don't think I'll be able to get a washer on it, but then one more on the top, right? So one on the back, one on the top. The screen is going to attach with the small screw hardware that I've got. I don't know, we could do that tomorrow, but the screen's probably not going to get here until the evening. So I'll do all this stuff in the background, and then I'll have 2 crimes modules, and one of them goes off to Julian. But we're not going to do any more crimes. We've reformed. We're good boys now. If you think about the labor cost for assembly, the labor cost for lost time is really why you always use super fast shipping. Amazon has let me get around that by just paying them for their giant evil corporate machine. I give them little bits of their payment to me for streaming back, and then I get to get fast-ish shipping on most things. But since I live like on top of an Amazon warehouse, I can get like sometimes even same day shipping, which is, I don't know if I like activating the Rube Goldberg machine of human cruelty that gets me these packages quickly, but that's why I use Amazon. If I wasn't living on top of an Amazon place, Amazon's really good for, well, it's not anymore. You can't find the good products anymore. If you want to buy something on Amazon, you just look at the seller and see if they're selling it on the side, because you can get it a lot cheaper. All right, so we're done with the module for now. It will come back. This will return in Oh Bother Endgame. This module will return, but it will be under the tutelage of Julian, my buddy Julian, and his musical talent and capabilities. He'll be able to do stuff with this thing that I can't. Probably going to use the arpeggiator a lot and maybe use it for timing stuff, but it's really clever because this is like the WarioWare module. This thing just throws you into like, oh, this is a quantator, this is a this thing and that thing and that, and you just click through them and select them. It's kind of awesome. I like mine better because I like my metal knurled knobs. These are more hardcore than Julian's weak rubber knobs. You see, I drew my knobs as the Chad and your knobs as the... These are like metal and knurled. His are like rubber and stupid plastic. Is there a law-abiding module? I don't know. I don't even know why this thing is called crimes. I don't really think it's doing any crime. This is all on the level, officer. All right. I also thanked Code Rush and Flatulent Gonad for raiding in and testing the new raid light. This is going to expand from here. I just have it up here because I didn't have time to do anything else. He's got Gonad has exactly the module that I would need in order to make this project just a one circuit board, 1 day project. Literally just hook it up and like you're done. That's what it's supposed to be. But now that I've ordered a couple more of these solid state modules, I may work on that. Then another thing and a strategy that we learned today, I only have podules, not modules. Well, I hope they are following the module. I got nothing. The LM1117 is so hot that we can see it on the thermal cameras through this light. I don't think that's just reflections of the... Yeah, it's not just the desk lights. It's actually the LM1117 heating it up. We learned today that if you put a resistor, like a big honkin' resistor, in the path of that voltage regulator, you can actually lower the amount of heat that it makes. 3D lasers! There's the seldom seen green light for bits donations. Hey, thank you for the $1. Twitch is, of course, going to be scraping off a little bit of that $1. It has to go through like a machine, and the machine has like a really hard edge on it, and it goes and it scrapes just a little tiny bit off, and then Jeff Bezos takes that little like shaved piece and he goes, and that's why his brain is broken. All right, let's see who's around. Who's around? You guys have tolerated me for the remainder of this build. I'm gonna get it working in the background, and we're gonna throw it at Julian and, like, you know, dent his brain a little bit. Nobody is on. TechSmith is playing Horsey Game, which is a great game. TechSmith 314. He's probably getting close to finishing. I don't have Gina on my radar right now. I probably should. But well, anyway, let's figure it out for another time. Gina's. Yeah, if you guys want to go check out Gina's, wait, where is that? Over there. Right there, check that out. I'm just gonna end it. I'm just gonna end it all, chat. That's what I'm gonna do. It's always a save object. Yeah, I'll check it out and raid in. We also have to take a look at these FET boards that we blew up because they caused some really weird things to happen. So I don't know what we're gonna do tomorrow, but we'll figure something out, and it's going to be less of a brain time. Well, actually, building this thing wasn't brainy at all, too. This was a no-brain. It's been a no-brain week. Maybe that's just the mood I'm in. But we'll figure out something cool to work on tomorrow. Maybe we'll make another. We'll build up the other light because my ESPs should be getting here today. My 10 ESP8266s. I didn't get the other ESP because you need all that accompanying hardware. I've got one of them sitting in this bin, and then I think I have some of that hardware, but I'm not quite set up like Gonad is. So I'm using the slightly more expensive ESP8266 modules. They're like $2. Oh, and Starship launches in about 2 hours. So Space Nerds on my Discord. I have a whole channel for you for Space Nerds so that we can coordinate that stuff. I don't know if I'll be around in 2 hours. I gotta walk the dog and do whatever dinner stuff I have to do around here. It's still only 3 o'clock though for another 5 minutes. So I didn't do the end card. Wait, I gotta do that. Sorry, I've been working so hard that I have not been looking up. And then that's gonna be the 22nd. Wait, there's a 22nd in this month, right? Yes. I don't know why I had to think about that. All right, so Wii. I could actually make it do that before, if I activate raid and it's on the countdown timer, I could make it activate the lights for raiding into another channel. That's actually kind of appropriate because it's like the scene in Alien where they're moving equipment around and all the lights are doing the spinny thing before the spaceship launches. Anyway, here's the end card with all of my end information about the end of the stream forever. I will be back in approximately 20 hours, 38 minutes, and 26 seconds. Catch y'all later.